You practice immortality. I cultivate the land. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 726, The Blood of the Greenhorned Thunder Rhinoceros. Pretend. Just pretend. Xuan looked expressionlessly at the young thunder dragon hound showing off with the thunderstorm lotus seeds and laughed secretly in his heart. He gave these thunderstorm lotus seeds to the young beast before entering the Thunder Sea with the purpose of giving it face when it returned to its hometown and proving that it was doing quite well outside in front of its peers who looked down on it in the past. The effect was obvious. Feeling the pure thunder spirit aura of the thunderstorm lotus seeds, many thunder hounds gathered around, their eyes wide open, looking at the silver white lotus seeds in the young beast's claws with envy. Ahem. Xuan coughed lightly, and the young beast instantly understood what he meant, and quickly put away the silver white lotus seeds. Then, it led Xuan to stroll around the thunder hound's territory. At this moment, muffled thunder sounded, and Xuan looked in the direction of the sound, only to see the greenhorned thunder sea walking towards him in the distance like a small mountain. It crossed dozens of feet in one step, and came to him in an instant. "Little friend Lu, you come to see me again?" The beast of twilight asked softly, and every word sounded like thunder in Xuan's ears. "Yes, I haven't seen you for a long time, and I miss you. I just happened to come to the Thunder Sea to collect some spiritual thunder, so I came to visit you. I also brought you a pot of spiritual wine brewed by myself." Xuan looked at the 7th grade King Geo Lacey and said with a smile, taking out a pot of 8 demon wine from the storage bag and handed it to it. "Thoughtful." King Geo Lacey said slowly, and the 8 demon wine in the wine pot flowed into its mouth like a small stream. Burp stimulated by the strong alcohol, it couldn't help but burp, and a silver white lightning gas was spit out like a sharp arrow, piercing a mountain in the distance. Xuan was secretly amazed, and felt the power of the 7th grade demon beast. "It tastes good, bring some next time," King Geo Lacey said with a chuckle. "Okay senior." Xuan agreed readily. He had already taken dark green thunder liquid, a large amount of thunder death crystals, and the 6th grade flying thunder grass from the greenhorned thunder sea. He felt a little embarrassed for taking it for free, so a little 8 demon wine was not a big deal. "Junior, can you help me clean up those newly grown thunder death crystals?" Xuan asked the greenhorned thunder sea with courage. "Come up. It's okay if I haven't cleaned them before. After you have done it a few times, I still feel a little relieved." The thunder death crystal is a special substance condensed from the scattered thunder energy in its body and the aging body, which is integrated with the body. Although it does not affect the strength and actions of the greenhorned thunder sea, after being cleaned by Xuan a few times, the old monster has become addicted to this special experience. "Okay Junior, I'm sorry." Xuan jumped and landed on the back of the greenhorned thunder sea. His spiritual consciousness carefully explored the thunder death crystals that were closely integrated with its flesh and blood. "I saw that alien young beast. Its personality is much more cheerful than before, and its strength has improved beyond my expectations. It can be seen that you have taken good care of it." During this time, the greenhorned thunder sea said to Xuan in a deep voice, "That is my job." The young thunder dragon is quite well behaved and cute in the cave, and is deeply loved by the young and other spirit beasts in the cave. Xuan's mind flashed with the image of the young beast blowing the fat bad black, and he said insincerely, "Then I'm relieved." The greenhorned thunder sea sighed, and the sound was like thunder rolling, and it lasted for a long time. Xuan felt a lot from its voice, and remained silent, carefully cleaning the thunder death crystals on its body. Compared with the last time, the number of thunder death crystals appeared in a similar period of time. The aging trend of this greenhorned thunder sea seems to be more serious. He secretly compared the difference between the 2 recent cleanings of thunder death crystals, and sighed in his heart. "Senior, the thunder death crystals in your body have been cleaned up." After cleaning up everything, Xuan put more than 100 kilograms of thunder death crystals on the ground into his storage bag, and said with a very respectful attitude, "Thank you for your hard work, little friend Lu." The greenhorned thunder rhinoceros nodded kindly. I have a small gift for the thunder dragon that follows you. As soon as the voice fell, blue lightning flashed from its mountain-like body, and then a drop of blue and red blood slowly floated out of its mouth. This is a drop of blood essence in my body, which contains some power of the ancient thunder rhinoceros. After the thunder dragon takes it, it can purify the blood power in its body and accelerate its growth. How can this be done? In the current state of the senior, if you separate the blood essence in your body, it will make the situation worse. Xuan looked at the green-horned thunder rhinoceros, who looked a little depressed, and waved his hand to refuse. I've already taken it out, why don't you take it? The voice of the green-horned thunder sea was raised a few degrees, like a thunderbolt in the blue sky, which made Xuan's ears hurt. Don't worry, it won't have a big impact on me. The reason why I gave it to the thunder dragon is that I'm optimistic about its future achievements and I'm doing it in advance. The pale green giant beast said slowly. Then I will accept the reward from the senior on behalf of the thunder dragon. Seeing the firm attitude of the green-horned thunder sea, Xuan quickly expressed his gratitude and summoned the thunder dragon to let it thank the ancestor. I don't have much time left. Once the deadline comes, the only thing I'm worried about is the thunder dragon beast tribe. Without me guarding the territory, the crisis they will face in the future will definitely increase sharply. Giving this drop of blood to the thunder dragon is also to establish a good relationship. When the tribe is in danger of extinction in the future, please come with the thunder dragon to help solve it. The green-horned thunder sea said slowly. There are no less than 10 other species of thunder dragon in the thunder beast tribe, but only the thunder dragon has a chance to obtain the blood essence in his body. Rather than being optimistic about the future of thunder dragon, it is better to be optimistic about Xuan. After the thunder dragon, which used to be eccentric, was taken away by Xuan, it underwent earth-shaking changes. Its temperament has been greatly improved, and its strength has increased much faster than other members of the same tribe. The 4th grade thunderstorm lotus seeds are like snacks for it. You know, with the current strength and status of King Geo Lacey, it is impossible to enjoy the 4th grade spiritual fruit to its heart's content. With Xuan's meticulous care and extremely favorable cultivation conditions, the thunder dragon cub has a promising future. It gave a drop of blood essence to make a good relationship. Once it dies, and the thunder beast tribe is in danger of extinction, Xuan may lend a hand out of this favor. I will keep your words in mind, senior. If the thunder beast clan encounters any danger, I will do my best to help, as long as I can. Of course, I believe that you can live for tens of thousands of years, but it is unlikely that day will come. Xuan promised solemnly, and before he finished, he flattered him subtly. Haha. Thank you, little friend Lu. The green-horned thunder rhinoceros laughed happily, causing countless thunders to rage in the thunder beast territory. With the help of alcohol, the thunder under 1 foot bloomed like a lotus and returned to a thunder pool. In an instant, a sound like thunder snoring sounded. Chapter 727 The 7th rank Xuan Kui falling from the sky. After staying in the territory of the thunder beast for a day, Xuan, the thunder dragon beast, said goodbye to the green, horned thunder sea and the other thunder beasts, and re-entered the vast sea of thunder. He deliberately avoided the direction of the thunder cave, and collected ordinary spiritual thunder in the sea of thunder. The dark green thunder liquid was too precious, and could only be used to cultivate the 6th grade Ziwi thunder fruit and the 7th grade Yemikingli vine. If it was used elsewhere, it would be a bit of a waste of natural resources. Thunderstorm lotus and 5 thunder twin flowers were cultivated with those ordinary spiritual thunder. In the process of collecting spiritual thunder, he saw more killing and treasure grabbing than usual. Some set traps to ambush other monks, and some fought desperately with their companions for treasures. He used the void nightmare eyes, the king fui feather clothes, and the secret book of Earth Yuan to deliberately avoid monks to avoid unnecessary trouble. It was not because he was worried about his lack of strength, but because Xuan had always been kind to others, and did not want to fall into these whirlpools. Of course, if he encounters someone who is blind, he doesn't mind dealing with him, and adding some high quality fertilizer to the evil spiritual plants in the underworld spiritual fields. That day, when he was collecting spiritual thunder in a canyon with dense thunder, he suddenly heard a low bull roar. HMM. Xuan looked strange, and looked in the direction of the sound. He saw a giant bull monster about 10 feet away, staring at him straight. The monster's body was as crystal clear as white jade, with 1 foot, and spiritual light floating under its feet. A faint white light enveloped its body, revealing a holy and pure breath. It can be seen that its current state is not very good. There are wisps of black air lingering around its head, trying to get into the giant bull's orifice. How did this giant bull monster find me? Even the void nightmare eyes didn't notice the slightest abnormality. Xuan looked calm, but his heart was turbulent. With a thought, the 5th grade Tai Thunder Talisman slipped from his sleeve into his palm. Although the detection effect of the void nightmare was greatly weakened in the environment of thunder and lightning, the mysterious giant bull could quietly appear near him, which also showed its strength. It seems that there is no malice, but it is asking me for help. Xuan frowned, feeling the emotions and the roar of the white jade giant bull. The sea of thunder is too deep now, so it's better not to add trouble to yourself. Besides, I can't guarantee whether there will be any traps hidden in it. He hesitated for a moment, and finally chose to watch coldly. He identified the direction, performed the thunder escape technique, turned into a silver white light, and shuttled through the thunder and lightning at a high speed. After a while, Xuan landed gently, and was about to return to the cave. Suddenly, the spiritual power in front of him rioted. With a click, a huge monster fell in front of him. Looking closely, it was the white jade giant bull that had appeared mysteriously just now. It can be seen that the giant bull's condition is much more serious than before. The black hair around its head is getting less and less, and the earthworm-like blue-black thin tubes on its face are prominent and keep swimming. Save me. The white jade giant bull opened its eyes with great effort, as if it had exhausted all its strength, and said 2 words to Xuan in a hoarse voice. Then, it fell into a deep sleep, motionless, dying, and only a faint trace of life in its body showed that it was not dead yet. Why did it target me? Xuan was puzzled, looking at the white jade giant bull that found him again, and felt a little tangled in his heart. He decided to see the situation of the giant bull monster before making a decision. Thinking in his heart, the light green light in his dantian rotated slightly, and a wisp of green wood source energy quickly entered the body of the giant bull monster like a slender little snake. Then, he concentrated his mind on the huge body of the monster, and suddenly, detailed information about the white jade giant bull appeared in his sea of consciousness. Xuan Kui, a 5th grade spirit beast, contains a trace of the blood of the ancient beast Kuiniu in his body. It is a guardian spirit beast of the Liang Dao sect. The complete body has the strength of a 7th grade spirit beast. Born holy, close to the way of nature, proficient in thunder magic. He was seriously injured and attacked by the evil faceless yin worm. The faceless yin worm, the companion of the evil 1000-faced worm, can invade the body of the cultivator's demon beast, pollute the soul, and occupy the body. It can be eliminated by magic, elixir and other treasures that restrain the evil breath. The potential of a 7th grade demon beast. The guardian beast of the Liang Taoist sect? Xuan was shocked. He didn't expect that the white jade giant bull in front of him had such a great background. The Liang Taoist sect is a giant in the Liang realm, and has a transcendent status. Even if the Halao Chamber of Commerce and the Xiangxing Cave are combined, they are far from being a match for the Taoist sect. How did this guardian beast end up in this situation? He wondered. The idea that he had originally ignored it changed a little. Now I know the origin of the monster in front of me. As the guardian spirit beast of Liang Dao sect, it will naturally not have any conspiracy against me, a small spirit plant master and casual cultivator of Xiangxing Cave. If I can rescue it, I can use this opportunity to establish a relationship with Liang Dao sect, and maybe I can get some high-grade spirit seeds. Xuan thought of this, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. You can find me again and again, and ask me for help. I have to say, you are really good at judging people. He came to the white jade giant bull cautiously, his spiritual power surged, and a faint spiritual light appeared in his eyes. After performing the delusion-breaking pupil technique, the faceless yin insect hiding in the giant bull monster's head suddenly appeared, and the black hair turned into a series of illusory strange insects, roaring at him silently. Xuan looked calm, and operated the Xuanshan King Wei Mao Fa, and a misty spiritual power was injected into the giant bull's head. The mysterious heavenly purity magic is extremely effective in suppressing evil spirits. When the spiritual power swept through it, the faceless yin insects that had invaded the giant bull's head melted away like snow in the scorching sun. The earthworm-like thin tubes on the monster's face also slowly softened, leaving only a series of dark blue marks, which looked extremely ferocious. It can be considered that I met them. If they met other cultivators, they might not be able to find the traces of these evil insects, let alone clean them up. Lu Xuan said secretly in his heart. After raising a wisp of King Mu Yuan Qi from the giant bull monster, he learned the detailed information of the monster, and then performed the breaking delusion pupil technique to accurately find the location of the faceless yin insects, and then use the mysterious heavenly purity magic, which was naturally effective in suppressing evil spirits, to solve the evil insects. After the faceless yin insects in the head were cleaned up, the breathing of the Xuan Kui spirit beast suddenly became much calmer. Lu Xuan pondered for a moment, took out a 4th grade dust cleansing pill from his storage bag, and put it into the mouth of the white jade giant bull. Then, a wisp of greenwood source energy flowed out from his fingertips, and injected into the spirit beast's body, healing its injured body, and restoring its vitality. Moo. After a while, the white jade giant bull woke up slowly, looked at Lu Xuan in front of him, and felt his body gradually getting better. He growled with gratitude. You are seriously injured, and have just experienced an evil attack. You must rest for a while. If you don't have a good place to go, are you willing to go to my cave with me? Lu Xuan said in a soft tone. He has decided to kidnap this 7th grade Xuan Kui spirit beast. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 728 The Liang Daozi. Hearing Lu Xuan's question, the white jade giant bull showed hesitation. Then, it stood up and tapped the ground with one foot, and the bright white spiritual light spread out like shimmering waves. The giant bull listened attentively, but did not get the expected answer, so it growled at Lu Xuan, and nodded in agreement. Okay, then follow me, Lu Xuan said with a smile, and the spiritual light of the green shoes on his feet emerged, shooting into the countless lightning, rays like an arrow from a string. Did you enter the Sea of Thunder with your master? How did you get separated? On the way, Lu Xuan asked the white jade giant bull about various news. The white jade giant bull growled from time to time, transmitting thoughts to Lu Xuan. From the information it transmitted, Lu Xuan learned that it had encountered an accident while exploring the secret realm, separated from its companions, and was seriously injured and attacked by evil spirits. It sensed the rich plant spiritual energy and the almost non-existent bloody smell on Lu Xuan, so it decided to ask him for help. The giant bull monster currently has the strength of the 5th rank, but it has not been long since it broke through and has not yet completely refined the horizontal bone, so it can only occasionally speak a few words with difficulty. After nearly an hour, the man and the beast successfully returned to the outside of the cave. Lu Xuan's spiritual sense scanned it, and after confirming that there was no abnormality, he opened the illusionary 5-element formation in the cloud bamboo arrow formation, and brought the white jade giant bull into the cave. As soon as he entered the cave, feeling the extremely rich plant and wood spiritual energy inside, the copper bell-like eyes of this 7th rank black Kui could not help but light up, and greedily absorbed it. A group of spirit beasts in the cave surrounded him, looking at the white jade giant bull curiously. You rest first, and I will check you again later, to prevent any evil spirits from remaining in your body, Lu Xuan said softly. The 7th rank black Kui in front of him is a big treasure, so he naturally has to take care of it meticulously. Otherwise, when the cultivators of the Liang Dao sect come to the door, how can he report to the emperor and negotiate terms? Half a day later, he finished cultivating many spiritual plants in the spiritual field, and found the white jade giant bull playing with Thunder Dragon and King Yulin in the valley. Although the 7th grade Xuan Kui currently has the strength equivalent to that of a giant and cultivator, it has the mind of a child, and gets along well with Thunder Dragon and the others. Lu Xuan brought it to the yard and let it lie down. The evil spirit is extremely secretive. For the sake of caution, I have to extract some blood essence from your body to prevent the evil spirit from blending into your blood. The flying needle magic weapon is a bit big. Please be patient. Seeing the 7th grade Xuan Kui lying in front of him and letting him fiddle with it, he couldn't help but feel a little itchy and couldn't help wanting to extract a bottle of Xuan Kui's blood essence. All this is just for a more comprehensive examination, not for the sake of the spirit beast's blood. Xuan Kui is quite intelligent, so I think he can understand me. Even if the cultivators of Liangdao sect know about this, it's hard for them to say anything to me when it comes to the health of the spirit beast that protects the sect. Lu Xuan thought to himself. Okay, there's no big problem for now. Lu Xuan gave Xuan Kui a few 3rd grade pills that nourished Qi and blood and said in a relaxed tone. Then, he took out various spirit fruits and spirit juices from his storage bag and sent them to Xuan Kui. There's nothing good to treat in the cave, only some spirit fruits and spirit juices that I cultivated and brewed for you to try, he said gently with the idea of compensating Xuan Kui's blood. Although the fiery fruit and the ice fruit are only 2nd grade spiritual fruits, they have a miraculous effect when paired together. You can enjoy the wonderful stimulation of the dual spiritual power of ice and fire in your mouth. Xuan Kui swallowed the 2 spiritual fruits of ice and fire with doubt, feeling the wonderful taste formed by the combination of the 2 different attributes of spiritual energy and the fragrance of the spiritual fruit itself, and squinted his eyes in comfort. And this is the immortal peach spiritual fruit, which tastes extremely delicious. When you taste it, it feels like tasting the taste of first love. Lu Xuan took another pink and white spiritual peach. The shape of the spiritual peach was very tempting, as if a light bite would fill your mouth with juice. Xuan Kui looked at the immortal peach in his hand and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. The 4th grade thunderstorm lotus seed is a special product of the Thunder Fire Star Cave. It has a unique flavor. When you swallow it, you will feel like thunder exploding in your mouth, crisp and numb, with endless aftertaste. He then took out a silver white lotus seed and put it into Xuan Kui's mouth. The cheeks of the white jade bull bulged, and the crackling sound of thunder could be heard faintly from its mouth. Then, a stream of white smoke shot out like a sharp arrow and dissipated for a long time. Is it strong enough? Lu Xuan asked with a smile when he saw it like this. Xuan Kui nodded hurriedly to show his agreement. It is worthy of being a 7th grade spiritual beast. Even if it is not a complete form, the 4th grade thunderstorm lotus seeds have no effect on it. Unlike the fat bird, its feathers were blown black when it just ate it. Of course, it may also have something to do with the bloodline of this spiritual beast. After Kuiniu, it is more adapted to thunder spiritual objects. Lu Xuan thought secretly in his heart. He took out the 100 fruit spirit juice, jade wash spirit dew, ice marrow spirit brew and even the 5th grade 8 demon wine, making the 7th grade Xuan Kui drink and forget everything. Do you like these spiritual fruits and spirit juices? He asked the white jade bull curiously. Xuan Kui roared happily. Although it is the guardian spirit beast of Liangdao sect, it cannot eat these 4th grade spirit fruits and spirit juices snacks, but it did so in Lu Xuan's cave. Especially since it is close to nature, the spirit fruits and spirit juice with rich vitality are very much to its liking. In a sense, it lives more comfortably and happily in Lu Xuan's cave than in Liangdao sect. Happy times are always short. The next day, when Lu Xuan was cultivating spirit plants in the spirit field, a clear voice sounded outside the cave. I'm Yao King Gaiu, the Taoist of Liang. I come to visit you. I wonder if you can meet me? Taoist of Liang? Lu Xuan's spiritual consciousness swept over and immediately noticed a handsome young man standing outside the formation. The young man was wearing a Taoist robe, with sword-like eyebrows and star-like eyes, and his temperament was extraordinary. He carried a mottled ancient sword on his back. He stood there quietly, and exuded a natural Taoist charm, as if he was a banished immortal from heaven. Late kind and cultivation. As expected of a Liang Daoist, it is said that every Daoist has a talent that is 1 in a million. At the same time, he is also a reserve for Yuan Ying's engine. It is almost foreseeable that he will be able to successfully advance to the Yuan Ying realm. This Liang Daoist did not hide his cultivation. After Lu Xuan's spiritual sense sensed it, he could not help but feel a chill in his heart. Deo Yao, my cave is honored by your presence. I apologize for not welcoming you from afar. He quickly opened the formation and went out to greet you. It turned out to be Deo Yaolu. Deo Yaolu is too polite. I came here just for the spirit beast and the sect. Because of an accident, I got separated from it. I came all the way to Deo Yaolu's cave to find its breath. Deo Yao, can you please help me and let Yao meet that evil beast? As soon as the elegant young man finished speaking, the white jade giant bull walked out of the cave by itself. It turned back every 3 steps, with an obvious unwillingness on its face. After it came to the young man, it looked left and right, as if it did not recognize the young man in front of it. Chapter 729, The Sword Grass of Splitting Light and Escape Shadow is mature. You evil beast, you actually ran here from the secret realm, and I had a hard time looking for you. Now, you don't even recognize me? Yao Kingayu asked dignifiedly. The Xuan Kui spirit beast snorted, looked at the young man, and then turned back to stare at Lu Xuan. Why, you are not happy with me coming to pick you up, and you want your uncle to come to find you in person. Moo. Hearing the words of the elegant young man, the white jade giant bull roared in a low voice and walked to his side. Deo Yao is a guest from afar. Why don't you go to my cave and sit down and taste the spiritual fruit and spiritual juice I cultivated and brewed? Lu Xuan smiled and invited warmly. The Taoist of Liang Dao sect came here. If he didn't seize this opportunity to get to know him, wouldn't it be in vain to save the Xuan Kui beast? Okay, then I'll bother Dao Yao Lu. Yao Kingayu nodded. Lu Xuan had just saved the sect's guardian spirit beast. If he refused this request, it would seem that he was too unkind. Dao Yao, please come this way. Lu Xuan welcomed Yao Kingayu into the cave. Xuan Kui was in a much better mood when he saw that he could stay here and enjoy the delicious food. He jumped and followed the two of them. Lu Xuan served the spiritual fruit and spiritual juice and took the initiative to talk about his encounter with Xuan Kui. 2 days ago, when I was searching for spiritual thunder in the Sea of Thunder, this spiritual beast suddenly appeared in front of me. It was weak and there were evil spirits trying to attack it. I felt sorry for it, and it didn't look like a wild monster, so I rescued it, cleaned out the evil spirits in its body, and brought it back to the cave. I didn't expect it to be a spiritual beast raised by the Liang Taoist sect. Lu Xuan said with half-truth. I see. Yao Kingayu nodded suddenly. This 7th grade Xuan Kui spirit beast is extremely sensitive to sense, close to nature, and does not like killing. Perhaps it sensed the pure plant spirit energy on you, fellow Daoist, so it came to seek your help, fellow Daoist Lu. It is a blessing for him to be able to keep his life with the help of fellow Daoist Lu. This big white bull is actually a 7th grade spirit beast. How did it get separated from you, fellow Daoist Yao? Hearing what Yao Kingayu said, a hint of surprise appeared on Lu Xuan's face. Although it is a 7th grade spirit beast, its current strength is only equivalent to the early stage of Jinden. As for the reason for the separation, after the secret realm of Liji Cave in Lihei appeared, a master uncle led several of our brothers to explore it. Because Xuan Kui's bloodline is special, we brought it here to see if it can get a chance. But I didn't expect that the danger of Liji Cave was even more than we expected. In the center of the secret realm, we encountered several powerful evil spirits. We were defeated and forced to separate. I spent a lot of effort to get rid of an extremely evil spirit, but I was also seriously injured. After recovering, I followed Xuan Kui's breath to find fellow Daoist Lu. Yao Kingayu said slowly. I have heard of the secret realm of Liji Cave, but I didn't expect it to be so dangerous. Even the cultivators of Liang Dao sect are in danger. Lu Xuan took a breath. Fellow Daoist Yao, can you tell me in detail about the secret realm? After all, my cave is in Lihuo Star Cave, and it has a close relationship with the secret realm. He asked. The secret realm of Liji Cave has been explored to its fullest, but the deeper you go, the stronger the restrictions and evil spirits you encounter. Many Jinden Zenjin have died from their auras. As far as I know, there are even Yuanying Zenjin who were seriously injured. Of course, more cultivators died at the hands of their own kind. Yao Kingayu said with a complicated expression. This is unavoidable. If you want to compete for opportunities, the most important thing is to surpass other cultivators with the same idea. That means you have to step on the bones of others to climb all the way. Lu Xuan didn't know what he remembered and sighed. Fellow Daoist Lu is in Lihuo Star Cave, occupying the geographical advantage, and didn't explore the secret realm of Li Ji Cave. The young man asked curiously. I have thought about getting a great opportunity, but I still know my limitations. I'm just a casual spiritual plant master, with average talent, and no rich family background. I'm satisfied to be able to rely on my talent as a spiritual plant master, to get to where I'm today, to live in the cave, and cultivate my beloved spiritual plants. Lu Xuan said in a low voice, completely immersed in his ordinary spiritual plant master. His heartfelt words made Yao Kingayu silent. He has been a child of destiny, since he was a child, with the best talent, the best training conditions, magic tools, talismans, elixirs, etc., and he has been smooth sailing all the way. He can't empathize with Lu Xuan. Everyone has his own way of cultivation. Maybe fellow Daoist Lu has an opportunity to come here in the cave. He spent a long time to find a lame excuse to comfort Lu Xuan. You know all this? Lu Xuan's heart jumped, and his expression was calm. By the way, fellow Daoist Lu, it's thanks to you that you saved this 7th grade Xuan Kui and prevented it from dying at the hands of the evil spirit. This 5th grade flying sword is what I used in the early stage of Jinden. It's of good quality, so I'll give it to you, fellow Daoist Lu, as a reward. Yao Kingayu took out a shining flying sword from his storage bag and handed it to Lu Xuan. You can't do that. Lu Xuan waved his hand and refused. I just saved it. This 5th grade flying sword is too valuable. I don't know anything about swordsmanship. It would be a waste if it fell into my hands. He already had several 5th grade swordsmanship treasures, so there was no need to have another 5th grade flying sword. Since fellow Daoist Lu has made up his mind, I won't force you. But, fellow Daoist, you saved the sect's spirit beast, so I must thank you. I see that fellow Daoist Lu has cultivated a lot of spirit plants, but unfortunately I don't have any related treasures on me at the moment. How about this? When this matter is over, I will go to the sect's treasury to find a spirit seed for you. Then thank you, fellow Daoist Yao. This is the answer Lu Xuan was waiting for. Without hesitation, he nodded in agreement. Here is a pot of 8 demon wine. I spent a lot of effort to brew a jar. It is strong and mellow, and can also nourish blood. I will give it to fellow Daoist Yao for you to taste. He handed Yao Kingayu a wine pot full of golden spirit wine. If we meet again, I will bring you some better spirit fruits and spirit juice. He secretly sent a message to the Xuan Kui spirit beast. Mu the white jade giant bull roared, followed Yao Kingayu reluctantly into the blue sky, and disappeared in an instant. It can be considered as a good relationship with this Liang Taoist. As for what results it will bring, I don't know. Lu Xuan looked at the direction they were going away, with a smile on his face. He came to the spiritual field in a good mood, and looked at each spiritual plant. What opportunity treasure do you want? Aren't there many in this spiritual field? He looked at the various spiritual plants in the thick white fog, which were full of vitality and growing well, and couldn't help but sigh. Suddenly, the sword light in the spiritual field area planted with sword grass became stronger, and it seemed that an invisible sword energy was raging there. Is the sword grass of splitting light and escape shadow mature? Lu Xuan was delighted. Chapter 730, Formless Ice Soul Sword Talisman. His figure flashed like a fleeting shadow and instantly came to the spiritual field area where the sword grass was planted. The closer he got to the 5th grade split light escape shadow sword grass, the more he could feel the power of its sword energy. The shape of the sword grass was vague, and it was difficult to find its straight sword body without a close look. Invisible sword energy swam around the sword grass, mysterious and unpredictable, changing in a myriad of ways, stirring up a trace of invisible translucent sword energy ripples. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on the split light escape shadow sword grass plant, and he immediately found that the progress bar below was completely full. Although the two 5th grade sword grasses were planted at a similar time, because Lu Xuan first comprehended the Killing Sword Sutra and then the Split Light Sword Sutra, they were not cultivated at the same time, so the white bone Killing Sword grass matured much earlier. A pale golden light appeared on his palm, and the invisible sword energy fell on his skin without any damage. Then, he carefully picked the Split Light Escape Shadow Sword grass from the spiritual soil, and concentrated his mind on it. The sword grass of Splitting Light and Escape Shadow, a 5th grade spiritual plant, is cultivated with invisible differentiated sword energy. It can be used to make a magic weapon. When used, it can release invisible sword energy. The sword energy can be differentiated at will, and it is unpredictable and hard to guard against. 5th grade sword grass, a natural sword weapon, is not inferior to most 5th grade flying swords. Lu Xuan couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the invisible sword grass in his hand. Then, he put it into the gluttonous insect bag, and his eyes were completely attracted by the white light ball that quietly emerged. It's time to harvest spiritual plants and open the light ball again. In Lu Xuan's impression, the treasures that bloomed from the sword grass spiritual plant light ball were all fine products, so he had special expectations for this light ball. The moment he stretched out his hand and gently touched the surface of the light ball, the slightly flickering light ball shattered like a bubble, exploding into tiny light spots all over the sky. The light spots quickly condensed into an illusory talisman and instantly sank into Lu Xuan's body. A thought emerged in his mind. Harvest a 5th grade Split Light Escape Sword Grass, and obtain the 6th grade Treasure Wu Xiang Bingpio Sword Talisman. The thought disappeared, and a white jade-like talisman appeared in front of Lu Xuan. The talisman was only the size of a palm, shaped like a small sword, and was filled with chilly air. It seemed that there was nothingness inside. Only by concentrating and looking closely could one discover the countless invisible sword key swimming like a school of fish. The sword key was sharp and cold, as if it was going to freeze Lu Xuan's consciousness. He concentrated his mind on the white jade sword talisman and immediately learned detailed information about it. Wu Xiang Bingpio Sword Talisman, a 6th grade talisman, was made by a Yuanying's engine of the Xuan sword sect. By integrating the 10,000-year ice soul into the supreme sword key, it can instantly release thousands of invisible sword key. The sword key is invisible and colorless, and is extremely sharp, which can stagnate the soul. When the sword talisman is fully activated, it can easily seriously injure, or even kill a cultivator in the middle and late stages of the Jiandan stage. 6th grade sword talisman. It can easily kill a cultivator in the middle and late stages of the Jiandan stage. Lu Xuan digested the information that emerged in his mind and felt happy. This 6th grade Wuxiang Bingpo sword talisman is extremely powerful. It can be said to be his other killer after the 6th grade Zenai Vajra statue. In a sense, its lethality is slightly better than that of the Zenai Vajra statue. This 6th grade sword talisman alone is equivalent to hundreds of Xiaohei sword talismans and Eri sword talismans. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. After slightly feeling the thousands of invisible sword key inside the sword talisman, he put it into the gluttonous insect bag. As for this 5th grade Split Light Escape Shadow Sword Grass, the invisible sword key is mysterious and unpredictable, and you can keep it for your own use. The Peacock King's sword, which has been refined into a magic weapon, is the main one, and the White Bone Killing Sword Grass and the Split Light Escape Sword Grass, which have practiced the two 5th grade sword techniques, are supplemented. One is extremely murderous and the other is differentiated and invisible. They can be used in different situations. He thought secretly in his heart. Harvesting a 6th grade sword talisman made him feel very happy. He looked at the many lightning sword grasses in the spiritual field with a relaxed look. Unfortunately, the sword grasses that were pulled from the Xianjian sect have all matured one after another, leaving only these improved 3rd grade lightning sword grasses. If you want to harvest sword treasures from high-level sword grasses, you can either improve these lightning sword grasses into 5th grade sword grasses, or collect them from the Heilao Chamber of Commerce or other places. However, given the rarity of high-level sword grasses and the fact that they are almost only circulated among the cultivators of the Xuan sword sect, this method is a bit wishful thinking. Fortunately, now we have the special 6th grade treasure of the Xuan sword monument, so the first method has a greater chance of success. Lu Xuan looked at the lightning sword grasses all over the ground and sighed secretly. Not far away, the Xuan sword monument was inserted diagonally into the spiritual soil, and pure sword intent continued to spread, nourishing and stimulating the many lightning sword grasses in the spiritual field. In such an excellent sword spirit environment, the growth momentum of the thunderblade grass was very good. There were fine lightning flashes jumping on the sword grass plants, and the sword energy was raging, cutting the spiritual soil on the ground with fine silver white sword marks. Xuan used the spirit rain technique and wood life technique to try his best to meet the needs of the thunderblade grass for vitality, and then waved the wind and thunder sword to further nourish the sword grass with wind and thunder sword energy. Then, he stepped on the spiritual energy step by step, and came to the edge of the formation. 5 seedlings with magical shapes appeared in front of him. The seedlings were about 3 inches long, and the stems reflected thousands of bright stars. The slender roots that kept flashing were deeply rooted in the star spirit mines left around the plants. The small leaves were dotted with starlight, which kept falling down, which was extremely dazzling. These 5 5th grade starfruits have finally taken root and sprouted. Xuan looked at the starfruits planted in the sky, and satisfaction appeared in his eyes. In addition to the spiritual plants absorbing the power of the stars on their own, we also have to help them find some spiritual minerals related to the stars. The 4th grade star spiritual minerals obtained from the ancient stone and the ancient jade pavilion last time are far from enough. They can only be used for their early growth. Xuan landed gently and came to the spiritual plant where the quasi 7th grade Diandian yang fruit was planted. The spiritual seed has grown a small seedling, which is a mixture of black and white, but also clear and distinct, and is in a state of being close yet distant. Without the nourishment of the yin yang treasure, the growth of this Diandian yang fruit is almost the limit. In the future, it will grow slowly at most. If you want to cultivate it normally until it matures, you must find an environment suitable for its growth. Xuan was a little worried. The cultivation conditions of high-level spiritual plants are much more complex and strict than those of low-level spiritual plants. In addition to the basic requirements such as spiritual energy and spiritual soil, they also have various special features. If they cannot be met, it will be difficult to successfully cultivate them. It took a long time for him to find some spiritual, or for the 6th grade Yuan spiritual wood, which enabled it to enter a rapid growth stage. At present, the star fruit, the upside down yin and yang fruit, and the 8-layered palace, that has not yet sprouted, cannot be fully cultivated. Fortunately, the higher the grade of the spiritual plant, the richer the light ball reward. In order to open better treasures, this little hard work is worth it. He couldn't help but sigh. Chapter 731 More Ordinary. On this day, when Xuan was cultivating spiritual plants in his cave, his spiritual sense sensed a familiar breath outside the cave, and he called out, "Fellow Daoist Zhu, are you patrolling this area again today?" 2 or 3 miles away from the cave, a giant Zenran passed by with 4 foundation building perfect cultivators. The cultivator's name was Xuan, and he was in the middle stage of Jinden. Due to the appearance of the Liji Cave secret realm, a large number of Jinden cultivators poured into the Liho Star Cave. In order to better ensure the safety of the cultivators renting in the Star Cave, Xiangxing Cave increased its patrol efforts and sent several Jinden Zenran to patrol in turns. Xuan wanted to make friends with him, and from time to time he sent some spiritual fruits and spiritual juices. In addition, he was very familiar with Qi Wuheng, which left a deep impression on the patrol cultivators of Xiangxing Cave. When they passed by his cave, they checked more carefully. It turned out to be fellow Daoist Lu. It was my turn these days, so I took a few guards to take a look here. Zhu Cheng smiled and bowed when he saw Xuan appear. He had a good impression of this casual spiritual plant master. With spiritual plant attainments that would impress the star envoy, and with a peaceful and generous attitude, he would send delicious spiritual fruits and spiritual juices from time to time. Where else could you find such a good tenant? Fellow Daoist Zhu, and several other fellow Daoists, you've been busy patrolling. Why don't you come to my cave to have a drink? Xuan asked with a smile. Well, I can enjoy the high quality spiritual wine brewed by fellow Daoist Lu again. Zhu Cheng was overjoyed and asked several foundation building perfect cultivators to guard outside and entered Xuan's cave alone. Several cultivators had no complaints. After all, their cultivation was one realm lower, and staying outside was more comfortable. Fellow Daoist Zhu, please. The two entered the yard, and Lu Xuan brewed a full cup of ice marrow spiritual wine for Zhu Cheng. Zhu Cheng took a sip, closed his eyes, felt the changes in the spiritual wine in his mouth, and slowly exhaled a wisp of icy breath. It's worthy of being called ice marrow spirit brew. The faint icy breath seems to penetrate into the bone marrow, making people feel light and refreshing. He exclaimed. Thank you, fellow Daoist Zhu. A smile appeared on Lu Xuan's lips. The two chatted for a while. I have been staying in the cave, and don't know the situation outside. I wonder if fellow Daoist Zhu can tell me about the recent situation of Thunder Mars Cave? He asked Zhu Cheng. Compared with the previous period, there is not much change. It's just that some cultivators didn't get any advantage in the Thunder Sea, and after coming out, they had some evil thoughts, and wanted to ambush and attack others in the Thunder Mars Cave. I encountered a case a few days ago, and it took a lot of effort to kill that person. It's just that I was accidentally touched by the secret technique he performed before he died. Zhu Cheng said in a low voice. Is everything okay? Lu Xuan looked concerned. It's okay. The evil spell was blocked by my armor. I only suffered a little internal injury, and will be back to normal in a few days. Zhu Cheng patted the dark blue armor on his body. Seeing Lu Xuan's eyes sweeping over him, he straightened his chest, and showed the countless dense and obscure runes on the armor intentionally or unintentionally. This 5th grade armor was tailor-made for us by Xiangxing Cave. It has a strong protective ability, and can resist most spells and magic tools. It is among the top defensive magic tools of the same level. He said in a calm tone. Fellow Daoist Zhu has such a high quality defensive magic tool. I really envy it. It's a pity that I don't have extra spirit stones to get that kind of protective treasure. If I encounter any danger, I can only rely on my body to resist it. Lu Xuan, who was wearing a green shirt, said with a smile, and a trace of just the right envy appeared in his eyes. Ha ha ha, fellow Daoist Lu has such attainments in spiritual plants. I believe he will soon get the desired protective treasure. Zhu Cheng laughed loudly. Well, Zhu has important matters to attend to, so I can't stay for long. I'll take my leave now. I'll come back next time to have a good drink with you, Daoist fellow. He hadn't finished his task of inspecting the Thunderfire Cave, so he said goodbye to Lu Xuan not long after sitting. No problem, I won't delay Daoist fellow Zhu. Here are some spiritual fruits and spiritual juices. Please bring them to the Daoists outside the cave. Lu Xuan smiled and handed some spiritual fruits and spiritual juices to Zhu Cheng. Daoist fellow Lu is thoughtful. Zhu Cheng bowed his hands to thank him, and quickly left the cave with the spiritual fruits and spiritual juices. After the figures of the few people disappeared completely, Lu Xuan activated the protective formation, and continued to cultivate spiritual plants with peace of mind. Suddenly, he noticed a strange movement of spiritual energy coming from the small lake at the edge of the cave. His spiritual consciousness scanned it, and understood it instantly. The green-horned dragon carp that was bullied by the Lihuojiao and the rock-armored turtle has finally broken through to the 4th rank. He couldn't help but sigh. The lake was limited in area. With the naturally suppressed Lihuojiao and the lively and naughty rock-shelled turtle, the small transparent green-horned dragon carp had to shrink in the corner and dig a small nest by itself. All this was its own initiative. Lu Xuan could not interfere, so he had to let it grow naturally. After years of raising it, it was finally promoted to a 4th grade spiritual beast today. He came to the lake at a very fast speed. He saw that the dragon carp had a slender body with dense dark green scales on the surface of its body. 2 long whiskers were dragged behind it. It seemed as if a dragon was dancing in the water when it swam. There was also a dark green horn on its head. At this moment, a spiritual energy vortex appeared on the horn, and a steady stream of spiritual energy entered the vortex, and was sucked into the body by the green-horned dragon carp. Ang! A low dragon roar sounded, and the dragon carp's breath suddenly rose a lot, and every move was full of majesty. Just when he was about to jump out of the water to vent his anger, he sensed the breath of the fire dragon not far away. Feeling the trembling from deep in his blood, he quietly retreated back into his nest. Lu Xuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. His spiritual power attracted the white light ball on the water surface. With a light touch, the light ball silently shattered, shining on the water surface with sparkling white light. The sky full of tiny light points instantly poured into Xuan's body. The green-horned dragon carp was promoted to a 4th grade monster, and the 5th grade treasure black dragon scale was obtained. The thought disappeared, and a huge scale about half a meter long and wide appeared in front of Xuan. The scale was dark black, and the texture was extremely hard. He could faintly feel the powerful dragon's breath. Xuan's mind was focused on it, and he immediately learned the detailed information of the huge scale. Black dragon scale, a 5th grade treasure, comes from the essence of a 5th grade black dragon. It has extremely strong protective power, and can be refined into a shield or armor defense magic weapon. 5th grade material, mediocre. Xuan's heart was calm, and he commented secretly. He didn't even like the 5th grade Xuan gang armor that he had opened from the light ball before, let alone this black dragon scale that was just a material. Find an opportunity to put it in a grocery store. He made a decision. Then, a sense of alert suddenly appeared in his heart. Xuan, when did you become indifferent to even 5th grade treasures? This black dragon scale can be refined into a 5th grade powerful protective magic weapon, and you don't even like it? Have you forgotten the embarrassing situation when you were a small casual cultivator and couldn't even get a few spirit stones? No. You must be alert. He took a deep breath and looked up and down at the huge scale in front of him. TSK, now that I look closely, it's even more ordinary. Chapter 730 to the liquidity of opportunity. Although these 5th grade black dragon scales are useless to the current Xuan, the high quality materials that can be used to refine defensive magic weapons are quite rare, and they can still bring a lot of spiritual stones in the grocery store. Xuan put it into a gluttonous worm bag and came to the spiritual field of the underworld. As soon as he entered, a strong yin ki hit his face. When Xuan was about to check the status of many evil spirit plants one by one, a gorgeous skin bag fell from the sky and attached itself to him. The gorgeous skin kept squirming, as if it was blending into Xuan's flesh and blood. There was a hazy smoke in front of him, and a naked woman showed off her graceful body, as if she wanted to lead him into the endless sea of desire. Xuan was unmoved, and a stream of clear air flowed through his body, shaking open the gorgeous skin. The skin bag shrinks rapidly and returns to its original place. The charm of this corpse skin is becoming more and more powerful. If I hadn't been determined and spiritually strong, I might have fallen into its trap and sucked the skin away and replaced it. Xuan looked at the increasingly vivid and agile Yan at his feet. Corpse skin couldn't help but sigh. Compared with before, the skin of the corpse has grown a lot, and more colorful lines appear on the skin. When the eyes fall on it, it seems that the flesh, blood and even the soul will be sucked away by it. Xuan took out the corpse of monster beast from the gluttonous insect bag, cut the skin bag off with great skill, and threw it on top of the corpse's skin. Before the demonic beast's skin came into contact with the corpse's skin, there was only a slurping sound before it was sucked in completely, leaving no trace. Just after raising Yanshipi, a big pink meatball jumped in front of Xuan. It is the flesh spirit god who is attracted by the breath of flesh and blood. The eyes on the top of the big meatball's head were staring at the pile of flesh and blood, and the fur was flying, revealing the strange salivating mouths inside. Xuan nodded slightly, took out the fresh organs of the monster beast, and signaled to the meat spirit god that it was ready to eat. The big meatball was so excited that it jumped 3 feet high. With a soft sound, more than half of the 1,000 kilograms of flesh and blood immediately dissipated and turned into a cloud of blood mist, which quickly fell into the mouth. The growth rate of this disaster level evil spirit is indeed astonishing. It is already roughly as strong as a monk who has completed the foundation establishment. But its appetite is also increasing. There are not many monster corpses left before. We have to find them. A stable supply of goods. Xuan sighed secretly. After Yanshipi and Flesh Spirit God each had a feast, only some shriveled flesh and bones were left in the huge monster beast. He put the flesh and blood into the muddy flesh to add some fertility to the evil spiritual soil. As for the bones, they are also placed in front of the 6th grade bone demon observation spiritual plant to provide it with some materials for building the bone observation platform. In the corner, the Shallow Tree Demon, which has grown to more than half a foot tall, is frantically attacking the front. Branches shot out like spears, and the old face that appeared on the trunk was gnashing its teeth, and strong fighting intent and resentment seemed to be felt in the blurred pupils. Looking at this attack posture, it seems to be simulating a battle with the demon vine. The attack method of the evil tree demon is constantly changing, as if there is an invisible enemy in front of it. Seeing this, Xuan couldn't laugh or cry. At the moment, Yao Gui Teng is enjoying himself in the soft countryside of Mixianteo, while Shallow Tree Demon is still replaying the battle between them. The gap between spiritual plants and spiritual plants. Xuan shook his head, took out the soul-inducing lamp, and controlled several powerful ghosts to fly out of the pale candle, using them to cultivate ghost-eating evil vines. These ghosts are too honest. The ghost-eating evil vine grows normally after being sucked and cannot produce evil effects. If you want to give full play to its characteristics, you have to get some evil ghosts to nourish it. Xuan sighed secretly. It seems that we need to go to Fengyuan's Star Cave to replenish some evil spirits and see if we can find a suitable cave to move these evil spirit plants there. In addition, some evil spirit fruits harvested before as well as treasures, etc. It is more convenient to take action there. There are more and more spiritual plants in the cave, and the area of the spiritual field is already somewhat stretched. In addition, the growth environment of evil and alien spiritual plants conflicts with ordinary spiritual plants. After Xuan broke through to the middle stage of pill formation, he had the idea of looking for another cave. Huangxi Star Cave has a single environment and is more suitable for fun and enjoyment, so Xuan has excluded it. As for the remaining Fengyuan Star Cave, it needs to be carefully inspected and supplemented with materials such as soul flesh and blood for cultivating spiritual plants. A few days later, before he could go out, the cave received an uninvited guest. But fellow Daoist Lu's cave mansion? I'm in situ Yuan, here to visit fellow Daoist. Xuan's spiritual consciousness swept over and noticed that there was a tall and thin Taoist standing outside the cave. The Taoist had a mid-stage pill-forming cultivation and was carefully studying the 5-element of disillusionment formation. It turns out to be fellow Daoist Situ. I'm sorry for missing you so far. Xuan's spiritual consciousness scanned and found no other abnormalities around him. With a flash of figure, he came to the edge of the cave, opened the formation, and welcomed the tall and thin Taoist in. Pindao has a little experience in formations, but the two formations outside, fellow Daoist Lu, are quite good in their own way. The tall and thin Taoist praised aloud. The first time he came to Xuan Cave Mansion, he did not expect that this spiritual planter who was in the early stage of forming pills would actually set up 2 5th level protective formations outside the cave manor. Fellow Daoist Situ is ridiculous. Xuan laughed loudly. I have been staying in the cave for many years, and there are many spiritual plants in it, which is almost my entire wealth. So I will not hesitate to spend a lot of money to improve the defense level of the cave as much as possible. He said half truthfully. The two entered the courtyard. Lu must have met fellow Daoist Sitter for the first time. I wonder why you came here? Xuan asked curiously, after serving the spiritual fruit tea. When I was exploring the secret realm of Liji Cave in Lihei, I heard other fellow Taoists mention that fellow Taoist Lu was willing to purchase spiritual seeds at a high price. I wonder if this is a case. The tall and thin Taoist put down the teacup in his hand and said in a deep voice, yes, I'm extremely obsessed with all kinds of spiritual plants. The rarer they are, the more I like them. It's a pity that I'm not strong enough. I don't have powerful treasures and I'm not good at fighting. I can only come up with this method. I hope I can get it. Some favorite spiritual species. Xuan couldn't help but feel happy when he heard the tall and thin Taoist. Sure enough, Situ Yuan's next words immediately confirmed his suspicion. I was lucky enough to get a strange spiritual species from an evil spirit's lair. I don't know where it came from. I heard that fellow Taoist Lu likes to collect all kinds of strange spiritual species, so I came here to try my luck. Really, please ask fellow Taoist to get the spirit. Plant it and let Lu have a look. Xuan said with a smile. Unexpectedly, the advertisements I put out before have begun to show results. The secret realm deep in the Thunder Sea attracted a large number of pill formations, including the nascent Soul Lord. He was cautious and did not want to take risks to explore, so he thought of such a method. He specifically informed the Fugian masters he met that he was willing to purchase high-level spiritual seeds obtained from the secret realm at a high price. Originally it was just a word of mouth, but I didn't expect that a monk actually came over with a spiritual seed. Although I can't fight for opportunities, opportunities are fluid. Isn't this coming? He was ecstatic. Chapter 733, Ghostly Tumor Demonic Tree. Upon hearing this, the tall and thin Taoist nodded slightly and took out a strange spiritual seed from his storage bag. At first glance, the spiritual seed looked like a tree tumor, but it was very different from a tree tumor. It was a mixture of red and white, with flesh and blood texture, and many thin tubes like blood vessels and tendons entangled on the surface. When the spiritual consciousness fell on it, it could detect the deep malice coming from the inside of the spiritual seed. Is this really a spiritual seed? It looks too weird. Lu Xuan looked surprised, showing an awkward look of having never seen such an evil spiritual seed. It is indeed a spiritual seed. I have studied it for a long time and asked a good friend who is good at cultivating spiritual plants. I can confirm that it is a 6th grade spiritual seed. The tall and thin Taoist said slowly. 6th grade spiritual seed. I wonder if fellow Daoist Sitter can let me verify it? Lu Xuan asked tentatively. Okay, but it has to be within my sight. I hope fellow Daoist Lu will understand. No problem. Lu Xuan nodded in agreement and took the spiritual seed to the spiritual field closest to the yard. Then he used the earth attraction technique to place the strange spirit seed into the crack of the spirit soil. He pretended to investigate it, and then he used the spirit rain technique to nourish the spirit seed. His mind quietly focused on the spirit seed, and detailed information about the spirit seed instantly appeared in his mind. Ghost Tumor Demon Wood, a 6th grade spiritual plant. The 5th grade spiritual wood was invaded by the evil ghost fungus spread by the disaster level evil spirit for a long time and mutated. When cultivating, the ghost tumor needs to absorb various nutrients from flesh, blood, and souls. After maturity, a ghost fetus will form inside. The evil and strange characteristics of the ghost fetus depend on the cultivation conditions. It can be taken directly to greatly increase the spiritual power of ghost cultivation, or it can be used to cultivate ghost magic. What kind of material you feed, what kind of fetus you will get. 6th grade evil spirit seed. Lu Xuan was surprised in his heart, but he remained calm on the surface. It is worthy of being a secret realm that can attract Yuan Ying's engine. The spirit seeds that are circulated are so extraordinary. As for whether it is evil or not, it is enough to harvest the light ball, and I don't care about other things. He thought secretly in his heart. Although there are a large number of high-level spiritual plants in the cave, there are still only a few 6th grade spiritual plants. It is a pleasant surprise for him to get another one. Although he is determined to get this 6th grade evil spiritual seed, he does not show it on the surface. He naturally takes out the tree-knot shaped spiritual seed and returns it to the thin and tall Taoist. How is the inspection of Daoist brother Lu? The thin and tall Taoist scanned the spiritual seed with his spiritual sense. After confirming that it is correct, he asked Lu Xuan with a smile on his face. It is indeed a high-grade spiritual seed, but its grade is still to be discussed. After all, the vitality contained in some 5th grade spiritual seeds is not much different from this spiritual seed. The most important thing is that we don't know the specific species of the spiritual plant, so naturally we don't know how to cultivate it. Lu Xuan shook his head slightly and began to bargain. I wonder what price Daoist brother Situ is willing to sell the spiritual seed for. The thin and tall Taoist pondered for a moment. Dao Ayalu also knows that this spirit seed comes from the secret realm of Liji Cave. It was not easy to get. I almost died at the hands of a terrifying evil spirit. Plus, the grade is basically a 6th grade spirit seed, which is rare in the world. If Dao Ayao wants it, you can take it away for 140,000 low grade spirit stones. 140,000 spirit stones? Lu Xuan exclaimed in disbelief. Then, his face turned cold. Didn't Dao Ayalu say that he would buy rare spirit seeds at a high price? Although this price is a little premium, it is worth it to get such a rare spirit seed. The thin and tall Taoist said in a deep voice. It is true that I'm willing to buy it at a high price, but it does not mean that I want to be a sucker. Lu Xuan shook his head. Then I will make a concession. How about 130,000 spirit stones? Seeing Lu Xuan's firm attitude, the thin and tall Taoist took the initiative to reduce the price by 10,000. Fellow Daoist Satu, I believe you have also learned from your giant and friend who is good at spiritual plants, that the species of this spiritual seed is unknown, and the method of cultivation is unknown. The only thing that is certain is that it comes from the mysterious Leiji cave. Under so many unknown conditions, the probability of cultivation failure is not small, which means that all the spiritual stones of Lu may be wasted and nothing can be gained. How can I be willing to take such a big risk to obtain such an unknown spiritual seed? Lu Xuan spoke earnestly and showed great sincerity. What Daoist fellow Lu said makes some sense. How much are you willing to offer? The thin and tall Taoist couldn't help but nod. 110,000 low-grade spiritual stones, no more. Lu Xuan cut a large price. That's impossible. If it's 110,000 spiritual stones, then I might as well sell it to other cultivators or chambers of commerce. Why should I come to you, Daoist fellow Lu? The thin and tall Taoist blurted out, firmly refusing to accept Lu Xuan's price. The two of them pulled for a while, and finally made a deal at 118,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Fellow Daoist Satu, here are 1,180 middle-grade spirit stones. Please have a look. Lu Xuan's spiritual power lifted a large pile of middle-grade spirit stones full of spiritual light, and sent them to the thin and tall Taoist. The number is correct. Thank you, fellow Daoist Lu. Situ Yuan happily took the spirit stones. Although the price was much lower than his initial offer, he was already satisfied. After all, although this spirit seed was of the 6th grade, its origin was unknown. It would be difficult to sell it at this price in other places. Fellow Daoist Satu, you don't have to be polite. I should be grateful to you. After all, spirit stones are easy to get, but good seeds are hard to find. As a spiritual plant master, if I can find a rare spirit seed, then I have nothing to ask for. It doesn't matter if I spend more on my own things. Lu Xuan was in a good mood after getting the spirit seed of the ghost tumor monster wood. He smiled and sent the thin and tall Taoist to the entrance of the cave. If you have any rare high-level spiritual seeds, or young spiritual beasts, embryos, or spiritual plant-related treasures in the future, you can send them to my cave. Lu is willing to buy them at a high price, and I promise not to let you down. Before leaving, he emphasized again. Okay, I'll keep it in mind, Daoist Lu. See you later. The tall and thin Taoist bowed and said, and then his Taoist robe fluttered, and a green wind carried him away quickly. Lu Xuan watched his figure completely disappear, and then returned to the cave with satisfaction. Afterwards, he entered the underworld spiritual field, and couldn't wait to plant the tree-like evil spirit seed, and took out some monster flesh and blood, to nourish the spirit seed. I didn't expect to get a 6th grade evil spirit plant so easily. He couldn't help but sigh. As for the more than 1,000 mid-grade spiritual stones he spent, it was nothing to him at the moment. He could make it back by selling more pills and treasures in the grocery store. He was in a good mood and walked out of the underworld spiritual field. A clear light swept over his body, clearing away the yin energy and bloody smell on his body, and entered the core spiritual field. The lowest spiritual plants planted in this spiritual field were grade 6 spiritual plants, among which there were rare species such as grade 7 Yimukingli Teng and grade 7 Bei Changong. There were also several grade 6 spiritual species. Lu Xuan carefully checked the status of the spiritual plants to ensure that they were nourished and cultivated in the most comprehensive, sufficient, and meticulous way. This Bei Changong has begun to sprout. He looked at a small seedling in the spiritual soil and said in surprise. Chapter 734, Zunfeng Palace Demonic Vine Breakthrough. The little seedling was the 7th grade 8-fold palace that he had obtained from gambling on stones in the Happy Star Cave. At this moment, an illusory spiritual flower was blooming in the outermost area of the seedling, and the petals were circled together, as if forming a small world. There were bursts of strange winds blowing inside, breezes blowing, and strong winds sweeping. The strange winds of different formations sometimes merged and sometimes separated, lingering in that small world. Xuan looked at the illusory spiritual flower blown by the strange wind, with a puzzled look on his face, and his mind was focused on the little seedling. Eightfold Palace, 7th grade spiritual plant, nurtured by the original breath of the cave. Now it has grown to the first level, Zunfeng Palace, and needs to be nourished by strange winds and spiritual wind treasures, to promote the growth of the spiritual plant, and make its spiritual flower from virtual to real. Has this 7th grade spiritual plant entered the first stage? Xuan understood. Zunfeng Palace, the first level of the 8-layer palace, needs to be nourished by spiritual wind and strange wind treasures. I wonder what kind of light ball reward will be brought when the first level matures. He thought to himself. In his opinion, the Immortality, which is also the 7th grade, belongs to the annual classification of spiritual plants, and the light balls harvested are in a progressive relationship. The later, the richer the reward. The light balls of this 8-layer palace are likely to be equal. The treasure rewards obtained when each level of spiritual flowers bloom are not much different. Of course, this is just a guess, based on the characteristics of spiritual plants. The specific situation will have to wait until the spiritual plants mature before specific verification. 7th grade spiritual plants, ordinary spiritual wind and strange wind treasures are estimated to not nourish for long. It is better to get a high level treasure of no less than 5th grade. Treasures of the 4th grade and below have limited promotion effects on treasures at the level of the nascent soul, and are likely to have only some effects in the early stage. Xuan is now wealthy, and has a big backer like the Halao Chamber of Commerce, so he doesn't have to worry about not getting a 5th grade wind treasure. He used the spirit rain technique and the wood growth technique to nourish the seedlings of the 8-fold palace, and then continue to inspect the spiritual fields in various places to check the detailed status of each spiritual plant. The more than 20 ice firefly grasses that were left behind have been successfully condensed. Xuan dug out more than 100 cold light blue spiritual seeds from the slender leaves and put them into the storage bag. After a little more processing, the spiritual seeds can be planted in the spiritual soil to start a new cultivation cycle. Now he can stably obtain a lot of ice firefly grass spiritual seeds and no longer have to go through the embarrassing time of cultivating for 2 or 3 years to harvest 1 or 2 cultivation light balls. As long as the ice firefly grass matures, he can harvest at least a dozen white light balls with cultivation rewards, and his strength will enter a stage of rapid growth. Of course, the further you go on the road of cultivation, the more difficult it will be. In addition to his mediocre qualifications, the white light balls can only make his strength increase a little faster than the disciples of the big sect. At the cliff of the mountain, Xuan also deliberately moved the sword raising good planted there to the sword grass spiritual field area. There is the Xuan sword monument, a top grade sword treasure, which can invisibly affect the surrounding area and turn it into a small secret realm of sword intent, which is of great benefit to the sword grass and the sword raising good. After planting for several generations near the Xuan sword monument, perhaps the thunder sword grass and the sword raising good may mutate and improve their varieties. Xuan felt the countless subtle sword energy wandering around the many sword grasses and sword raising goods, and couldn't help thinking. He was very satisfied with these 2 spiritual plants, both the spiritual plants themselves and the light ball rewards he harvested, and naturally looked forward to the arrival of that day. In the spiritual field, the 4-grade earth fire heart lotus and 5-element fruit that had been successfully improved had entered the growth stage, growing well, and their vitality was obviously more vigorous than ordinary spiritual plants of the same variety. After Xuan inspected and cultivated all the spiritual plants in the spiritual field, he dragged his slightly tired body back to the yard. There were more and more spiritual plants, especially higher level spiritual plants, and he didn't know how many spiritual rain spells he had released. Although it was troublesome, it was worth the effort to improve the quality of the spiritual plants as much as possible and get more generous light ball rewards. In the following period of time, Xuan still stayed in the cave with peace of mind, occasionally going out to the star picking tower to fulfill the duties of the Chamber of Commerce guest and replenish some basic cultivation resources. Situ Yuan's visit was just a small episode, and no other cultivators came to sell high-level spiritual seeds later. Lu Xuan was not disappointed about this. He was already satisfied to get a 6th grade ghost tumor demon wood, and he did not dare to ask for too much. The disturbances in the secret realm of Leiji Cave had nothing to do with him. He stayed in the cave and lived a simple and fulfilling farming life. 2 months passed in a blink of an eye. On this day, Lu Xuan was inspecting the spiritual field and suddenly noticed a strong spiritual fluctuation coming from a remote corner of the cave. The enchanted fairy peach is planted in that area, and the demon ghost vine has been staying in it. How did it make such a big scene? He scanned it with his spiritual consciousness and then showed joy on his face. This demon vine seems to be about to break through its own grade. Lu Xuan's figure flashed and came to the outside of the fairy peach forest. In the pink miasma, the demon vine's body was constantly expanding, and thick gray-green vines were rapidly pouring out, dancing wildly like tentacles. After a few breaths, a huge vine forest was formed. Countless vines absorbed the pure and rich spiritual energy in the cave, and in an instant, a spiritual energy vortex was formed with it as a center, and a continuous stream of spiritual energy and plant vitality poured into it. Thousands of tentacles continued to shrink, forming a large gray-green ball. The big ball became more and more dense and solid, and the rich plant spiritual energy gathered in it. As time passed, there was only a loud bang. The gray-green vines exploded all over the sky, flying wildly in the air, like covering the sky and the sun. Then, they quickly retracted and merged with each other, and finally only a gray-green vine like a giant dragon was left on the open ground. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on the body of the demon ghost vine, which had undergone a lot of changes. Suddenly, a thought emerged in his mind. The demon ghost vine is a 6th grade demon transformed spiritual plant. It evolved from generations of alien ghost vines. It likes to eat spiritual plants and spiritual seeds, and has an extremely keen ability to detect spiritual seeds. It is proficient in various wood-related magic techniques, and has a strong ability to proliferate. It can be divided into thousands, and has immortal vitality. It has actually broken through to the 6th grade demon transformed spiritual plant. Lu Xuan was surprised. This demon ghost vine was obtained by chance, when he was exploring a blessed land in the Xianjian sect. It has been with him for decades, and has helped him search for many high-level spiritual seeds, and made great contributions. Because it is half demon and half plant, its growth rate is much slower than other 5th grade spiritual plants. There are countless mature spiritual plants in the cave, and the most essential parts were taken away by Lu Xuan. Although the remaining spiritual plant parts are not as good as the spiritual fruits and flowers with the essence, they also have rich vitality, and are also good tonics for the demon ghost vine. In addition, he often fed it rare spiritual fruits and many spiritual brews, and the demon ghost vine itself was a different species, which allowed it to break through to the 6th level today. Not bad, not bad. Lu Xuan took out a thunderstorm lotus seed, and threw it on the huge gray-green vine. As the demon ghost vine's grade increased, its ability to search for spiritual seeds would naturally be greatly enhanced, so he had to reward it first. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 735, Divine Wood Green Pot. While the demon ghost vine was chewing the silver white lotus seeds, Lu Xuan's mind was completely attracted by the white light ball that quietly emerged. He looked at the light ball with a burning gaze. The demon ghost vine is a special species, half demon and half plant, and it has broken through to the 6th level. The rewards contained in the white light ball are naturally much richer than those of spiritual plants of the same level. He held his breath and touched the surface of the light ball gently. In an instant, the light ball shattered silently, and countless tiny light spots rose into the sky like fireworks. In an instant, the light spots in the sky condensed into a small pot phantom and sank into Lu Xuan's body. Then, a thought flashed through his mind. The demon ghost vine broke through to the 6th level and obtained the 6th level exotic treasure Shenmue Kinghu. As soon as the thought disappeared, a small pot quietly appeared in front of him. The small pot was exquisite and exquisite, with a green color all over. A faint green light flowed on the surface of the pot, and a faint green aura was generated from the spout of the pot, which was very lovely. Xuan focused his mind on the small emerald pot, and immediately learned the detailed information about this treasure. Shenmue Green Pot, incomplete, a 6th grade treasure, is a treasure inherited from the Shenmue sect. It was originally a mid-level magic weapon. After its origin was lost, its rank dropped, and only some functions remained. After injecting various wood-attributed spiritual energy, the Shenmue Green Pot can store, compress, and transform, greatly enhancing the spiritual power. The effect depends on the amount, quality, and time of spiritual energy. It turned out to be a broken mid-level magic weapon. Xuan exclaimed, looking at the emerald pot in his hand with an unexpected look. Mid-level magic weapons are generally made by sacrificing and refining 7th grade magic tools. They belong to the category of nascent soul. Each one is extremely precious. I didn't expect to harvest it from the light ball. It lost its origin and dropped to the 6th grade rank. However, according to the information prompt, if it can really compress and transform wood-attributed spiritual energy, this 6th grade pot is no less than an ordinary 7th grade magic weapon for me. No, it is even far superior to them. Xuan was filled with emotion. He currently has 3 main wood-related magics and treasures. Wood-growing magic, a basic cultivation magic, can transform spiritual power into wood spirit breath that can be easily absorbed by spiritual plants, which is beneficial to the growth of spiritual plants, but its effect is extremely limited. In addition to being used to cultivate grass puppets and tree girls, the main function of the soul-gathering grass beads is to replenish the greenwood source energy in his body. The greenwood source energy comes from the gift of King Xuan before his death. It is of great benefit to spiritual plants. It can ripen spiritual plants, and has a certain healing effect. When he was in the Xianjian sect before, he needed to go out to guard because of the invasion of demons. In order to improve his self-protection power, he used a large number of soul-gathering grass beads and greenwood source energy to ripen several high-level spiritual plants in succession, thereby obtaining rare treasures and greatly improving his strength. But in the Thunder Mars cave, he did not use this special method. First, his strength and treasures are much stronger than before, and he has not experienced any major risks. Another is that, in order to ripen high-level spiritual plants, the greenwood source energy used needs to be at a massive level. In order to ripen a 6th grade spiritual plant that has entered the growth stage, I don't know how many Kangyuan grasses I need to plant, and how many nailing grass beads I need to harvest. And this Shenmue King who can improve his current situation very well. Storing, compressing, and transforming wood-attributed spiritual energy. Xuan was eager to try. Immediately, he had a thought and simply sacrificed the small pot in his hand, performed the wood birth technique, and injected a stream of spiritual energy into the emerald green small pot. In the perception of spiritual consciousness, the spiritual energy was like mud entering the sea, entering a green world. Then, under his control, it flew out of the emerald green small pot. Compared to the beginning, the spiritual energy is indeed richer and purer. The reason why the effect is so obvious may also be related to the fact that I only injected a wisp of ordinary wood-attributed spiritual energy. If a large amount of greenwood source energy is injected, the transformation time will be greatly extended. Xuan analyzed secretly. However, the effect of this Shenmue King who has already made him very satisfied. When the spiritual plants cultivated later become higher and higher in grade, the maturity period will be dozens or hundreds of years, especially the 7th grade spiritual plants, which are estimated to be more than 100 years. The cultivation period will be too long. Now that I have this incomplete middle grade magic weapon, the Shenmue Green Pot, I can completely shorten the maturity period of high grade spiritual plants, and obtain the light ball reward as soon as possible. Xuan thought of this and was overjoyed. The light green light ball in his danshan rotated rapidly, and a continuous stream of greenwood source energy was injected into the Shenmue Green Pot. What a good treasure. The more he looked at it, the more he liked it. It's a pity that the origin was lost, and the grade fell from a middle grade magic weapon to a 6th grade treasure. Such a good farming artifact. I have to find a way to restore it. Xuan made a decision in his heart. From the information of the Shenmue Green Pot, I learned that this strange treasure is the inheritance treasure of the Shenmue sect, and perhaps we can start from this aspect. The Shenmue sect is not in this world, and it is also a sect inheritance treasure. With his current strength in the middle stage of the Jinden, it is a long way to go if he wants to get it. However, he was very patient. With his current growth rate, it would be just a matter of time before he could inherit the method of the sacred wood green pot. He was in a good mood after obtaining such a rare treasure. Even the demon vines covered with tentacles and the pink miasma were much more pleasing to the eye. You were born in such a cave with many high-level spiritual plants. You don't have to worry about food and drink. You can enjoy yourself here every day and enter the infatuation time on your own initiative. Every 3 to 5 days, there are other similar evil tree demons who actively seek abuse. This life is too comfortable. He shook his head and decided to wait for a while and make good use of this tool vine for searching for spiritual seeds. The first level of the 8-layered palace has entered the growth stage. In order not to affect its maturity, we must find spiritual wind and strange wind treasures as soon as possible. At the same time, there is also the upside down fruit, and we also need to find treasures that can fully nourish them. In addition, we must count the evil spiritual plants and treasures in our hands, go to the star picking tower, obtain the qualification to stay in Thingyu Star Cave for a long time, and while searching for a suitable cave, see if we can sell those treasures at a high position. Also, the previously collected flesh, ghosts, bones, etc. are running low, and with the addition of the ghost tumor monster tree, a big meat eater and blood drinker, we have to find a suitable place to replenish them. Lu Xuan sighed secretly. Thingyu Star Cave is full of evil cultivators, and the high-level evil treasures in his hands are naturally very popular. As an ordinary spiritual plant master who is not good at fighting, I'm really a little nervous to enter the world of evil cultivators alone. A strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Well, bring the meat spirit god with you. He has been locked up in the cave for so long, so he needs to move around more. He came to the evil spirit field and summoned Big Meatball. Come on, follow me outside. I promise to whet your appetite and give you a big meal. Hearing this, Big Meatball jumped around on the ground happily. When his fur floated up, he could see strange mouths with a strong smell of blood inside. Chapter 736 Windstone. Star Catching Tower. Lu Xuan walked out of the Xiangxing Cave headquarters holding a dark token surrounded by evil spirits. The token is the Fengyuan Order, which allows him to stay in the Fengyuan Star Cave for a period of time, allowing him to travel unimpeded in most uninhabited lands. He then came to a grocery store on the corner of a small street. There were not many customers in the grocery store at this time. When Xuan, who was inside, sensed Lu Xuan's aura and hurriedly came out to greet him. "See Senior Lu." Lu Xuan waved his hand and asked, "How is the business of the shop recently?" "It's very stable. Several common treasures such as sword talismans and sword raising goods are particularly popular, and a lot of other treasures are also sold." When Xuan said without hesitation, "That's good." Lu Xuan nodded lightly and caught a glimpse of a half-opened spiritual plant book on a wooden table not far away. "Have you devoted yourself to studying the knowledge of spiritual plants recently?" After the senior's instructions, the junior went to the Chamber of Commerce in the clan to get a lot of spiritual plant classics. In addition to taking care of the shop and daily practice, the rest of the time is spent on this. When Xuan said quickly, "Now the theoretical knowledge is no longer inferior to that of many ordinary spiritual planters." "Not bad," Lu Xuan said with satisfaction. His spiritual consciousness swept across Wengan, and he immediately noticed that his spiritual power was becoming more harmonious and was about to break through to the foundation building realm. "Is your cultivation about to reach a breakthrough?" he asked gently. "Senior, I have gained occasionally, and I may try to make a breakthrough recently," When Xuan said with a cautious expression. "Breaking through the realm is a top priority. You can focus on that in the recent period. As for the store business, you can put it aside for the time being. Also, you have managed the grocery store business for me for so many years. These 3 buildings I will give you the foundation establishment pill to help you successfully advance to foundation establishment," Lu Xuan said in a deep voice, and with a flick of his sleeves, 3 foundation establishment pills appeared in front of Wen Xuan. Compared with when Han Qinghe was promoted to Foundation Establishment, he had no intention of helping Wen Qian protect the law, so he simply gave him 2 more Foundation Establishment pills to slightly increase his promotion probability. Wen Qian was born in the Wen family of the Heilao Chamber of Commerce. Even if he is not a direct descendant, he can still rely on the family's magic circle and the protection of his elders, so he does not need to worry too much. Thank you, Senior. If this junior is lucky enough to be promoted to the foundation building realm, he will definitely stay in the shop and take care of business for Senior. Wen Gan took the foundation building pill and bowed his head heavily. Although he is a descendant of the Wen family, he is only a sideline. Whether in terms of qualifications or status, he is not ranked among the many young talents in the family. It is better to cling tightly to the thigh of the Master Jiden in front of him. Not to mention anything else, Lu Xuan's status in the Heilao Chamber of Commerce alone is enough to make his future worry-free and bright. As long as you have the heart, if you are still willing to follow Lu, you won't suffer a loss. Lu Xuan nodded with satisfaction and said with a smile, with his current wealth and treasure, just leaking a little bit can make Wen Qian and Han Qinghe's face was covered with oil after eating. The treasures brought for sale this time are similar to those before, except that there is an additional 5th grade treasure. The 5th grade material, Black Dragon Scales, has extremely strong defense and can be used to refine good armor and shields. You choose one. Take action when the time is right. Lu Xuan handed the Black Dragon Scales and some light treasures and elixirs to Wen Qian. Wen Qian was shocked and took over many treasures. Another 5th grade treasure, the 3rd one after the 9-headed dragon picture and Xuan gang armor. Where did the family of Senior Lu in front of me come from? Lu Xuan handed over the Black Dragon Scale. Wen Qian became the hands-off shopkeeper and went straight to the branch building of the Chamber of Commerce. Senior Lu, are you here? As soon as he entered the Chamber of Commerce, the charming female cultivator surnamed Wen came with a burst of fragrance and respectfully greeted Lu Xuan. Master Wen, Mr. Lu has come over to inquire about 2 kinds of treasures. Lu Xuan went straight to the point and asked in a deep voice. Senior, feel free to speak, but Junior will tell you everything you know. The female cultivator said softly. Because of my practice, I want to collect 2 kinds of treasures from the Chamber of Commerce. One is a wind treasure that can breed strange winds and spiritual winds. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures are the best, followed by magical weapons and techniques. The other type is various types of treasures related to the Tao of Yin and Yang. It is best for both treasures to be at least level 5. Lu Xuan said slowly. The treasures containing the Tao of Yin and Yang are no lower than the 5th grade. As far as I know, there are no such treasures in the branch building. It is estimated that they can only be found in the treasure house of the headquarters. As for the 5th grade wine treasures, I remember 2 years ago a 5th grade strange stone called the Wind Aperture Stone was purchased in the front branch. Since there are not many monks who practice wind magical powers, and the stone is quite large and the price is slightly expensive, it has been kept until now. A trace of thought appeared, and he said softly, Wind Aperture Stone. Can you bring it to Lu to have a look? Lu Xuan suddenly became a little interested. Senior, wait a moment Junior, come back as soon as you go. The female cultivator turned and left, and after a while, she returned to the house. With a flash of inspiration, a huge strange stone half a foot high appeared in the middle of the room. The boulder has a strange shape, and has hundreds of apertures of various sizes. There are whistling sounds coming from the apertures, as if a strange wind is constantly accumulating power, and spewing out at any time. Senior Lu, this is the Wind Aperture Stone. It has a very strange structure inside. It can release a burst of spiritual wind every once in a while. You can use the spiritual wind to temper your body, especially for monks who practice wind attributes. It is of great use. Lu Xuan looked at the strange stones in front of him with a satisfied expression. In his opinion, this wind orifice stone is most suitable to nourish the first level Zunfeng Palace. Master Wen, I wonder how many spiritual stones are needed for this Wind Aperture Stone. He turned to the female cultivator behind him and asked. Senior, if you want it, you can take away 35,000 low-grade spiritual stones. The female cultivator surnamed Wen pondered for a moment and then said after consideration. Okay. Lu Xuan nodded immediately. He knew in his heart that the price should be much cheaper than the normal selling price, which was inseparable from his status as a guest of the Merchant Association. Here are 350 middle grade spiritual stones. I would like to ask Master when to take a look at them. The female cultivator scanned the spiritual consciousness briefly, put a small pile of medium grade spiritual stones into the storage bag, and said with a gentle smile, "This piece, the wind aperture stone, belongs to Senior Lu." Lu Xuan flicked it with one hand, and the huge strange stone disappeared. "Thank you very much, Mr. Wen, for finding such a treasure for me. It is my duty to share the worries of Senior Lu. As for the yin and yang treasure, I will also inquire about it from other branch buildings in the headquarters, but I will not guarantee that I will find it." The female cultivator surnamed Wen immediately expressed her position to Lu Xuan. "It's enough for fellow Taoist scholar Wendao to have this kind of heart," Lu Xuan said with a smile. "Being able to get this 5th grade wind orifice stone from the branch building of the Chamber of Commerce is already an unexpected blessing. At least you don't have to worry about the growth and cultivation of the Zunfeng Palace. The first level of the 8th layer palace can bloom smoothly. As for the corresponding treasures that nourish the yin and yang fruit, you can only leave it to chance." Chapter 737, The Skeleton Demon. After leaving the Heilao Chamber of Commerce branch, Lu Xuan drove the Wind and Thunder Sword and headed for the entrance of Fingyuan Star Cave at lightning speed. When he arrived at the entrance, he changed his appearance unconsciously and became a young man with a sinister temperament. At the entrance, evil cultivators came in and out from time to time. According to Lu Xuan's Zuanshan King Wei Mao Fa, to perceive evil and yin energy, every evil cultivator has extremely strong yin energy, evil energy, bloody smell, etc. The flesh spirit hiding in the gluttonous insect capsule magic weapon also smelled these auras. It was originally honest and motionless, but it suddenly became a little restless, as if it could jump out of the gluttonous insect capsule at any time and inhale a lot. "It seems that I have come to the right place." Lu Xuan took a deep breath and injected a trace of spiritual energy into the Fingyuan order in his hand. The evil ghost on the dark token suddenly became extremely vivid, emitting a thick black gas, wrapping Lu Xuan into a dark world. I don't know how long it shuttled in the dark world. When it appeared, Lu Xuan had already stepped on a new land. What came into view was a dim world, with a strong yin energy and few signs of life. Not far away was a small town, where many cultivators could be seen. Lu Xuan's spiritual sense swept through it, and after confirming that there was nothing unusual, he followed the other cultivators into the gloomy town. There were many cultivators in the town, most of whom had a strong yin energy, and a few even had strange appearances, just short of being directly labeled as evil cultivators. In addition, there were many evil spirits floating around. There were some shops in the center of the town, and some stalls on both sides of the street, mostly selling evil materials and magic tools. In terms of the degree of gloom and bloodiness, it was stronger than the evil spirit field in Lu Xuan's cave. Although Lu Xuan was kind to others and rarely fought, he had no discomfort in entering the evil spirit field after years of cultivation. But if it was just the town in front of us, it would be a bit inconsistent with the famous Fingyuan Star Cave. Lu Xuan looked around and wondered, "Is this your first time entering Fingyuan Star Cave? Do you need me to lead the way?" Suddenly, a sinister voice came from under his feet. Looking down, he saw pieces of bone slowly emerging from the dark ground. After all the bones emerged, they assembled into humanoid shapes. It can be seen that the skull is not compatible with the other bones, and it fell off several times during the assembly process. Finally, out of helplessness, Beigu's 10 white fingers took out a tendon from somewhere, threaded it up and down, and fixed the skull on top of his head. Ghost cultivation, a bit interesting. Do you usually stay in this soil? Lu Xuan looked at the flustered Beigu with interest, and asked with a smile. He noticed the abnormal movement of Beigu as soon as he saw it, but after sensing the fluctuation of Beigu's spiritual power that was not enough to practice key perfection, he left it alone. Replying to the senior, "This yin soil is full of yin energy, and it is connected to the depths of Fingyuan Star Cave. Staying inside will help me practice." However, after I found that the senior seemed not very familiar with Fingyuan Star Cave, I bravely came out, hoping to be of service to the senior. Beigu said in a low voice, with 2 faint green lights flashing in his sunken eye sockets. While speaking, His skull tilted a lot more, and he had to use his finger bones to straighten it, and simply tied a knot. It is indeed my first time to come to Fingyuan Star Cave, but before I make a decision, you should introduce yourself first, Lu Xuan said in a calm tone. Okay senior. Hearing Lu Xuan's words, the faint green light in Beigu's eye sockets shook, and he seemed to be extremely happy. Since my body was destroyed, I had to practice the white bone ghost path, and have been staying in the dark soil of Fingyuan Star Cave. Since I have been dead for many years, I have long forgotten my origins in life. Seniors, you can just call me Ghost 17. Ghost 17. You are a ghost cultivator with key training strength, and you dare to appear in front of me rashly. Aren't you afraid that I will be unhappy and crush you to pieces? A smile appeared on Lu Xuan's mouth. I'm afraid. Of course I'm afraid. I know that many of my colleagues have been beaten into powder or refined by some violent foundation building and core forming seniors. However, although I'm weak, I'm still affiliated with the White Bone Palace of Fingyuan Star Cave. The seniors who enter the Star Cave will more or less give the White Bone Palace a face. The White Bone pointed to a dark white mark on its shoulder blade and said respectfully, of course, the most important thing is that my intuition is always accurate. I believe that the senior is not that kind of cultivator. For us little ghost cultivators, coming out to look for cultivators is equivalent to competing for an opportunity. If the bet is right, then you can earn some spirit stones and continue to linger on in the first layer of Fingyuan Star Cave. If the bet is wrong, then at most you will have a dog's life. But in order to survive, I have to gamble. After all, other jobs that can earn spirit stones are only more dangerous than this. Beigu said optimistically. When he was excited, his skull almost broke out of his tendons. Okay, you bet right. Tell me about the situation in Fingyuan Star Cave. If you can satisfy me, I will definitely get your spirit stones. Lu Xuan said with a chuckle. Thank you senior. Beigu quickly bent down to express his gratitude. In a strange sound that made people's teeth ache, his skull bent down 90 degrees and was hung on his chest by the tendons. I wonder what you want to know senior. First, tell me what the first level of this Fingyuan Star Cave is about. The white bone eye sockets flashed with a dark green light, as if he was organizing his words. Replying to the senior, Fingyuan Star Cave is divided into 7 layers, each with its own characteristics. The Star Cave is funnel shaped, narrow at the top and wide at the bottom. To get to the next layer, you need to be at a specific location and rely on your cultivation or a token to enter. The first layer has the smallest area, and the yin key is much weaker than other layers. There are no secret realms or exotic treasures. It is just a transit station where countless low-level ghost cultivators and yin objects like the juniors live. There are fewer evil cultivators and ghosts living on the second and third layers. Basically, they have the strength to build a foundation. There are many secret realms distributed. If you have deep blessings, you can still get a lot of opportunities and treasures. The 4th and 5th layers are occupied by giant and Zenran or ghosts of equal strength. It can be regarded as the core area of Fingyuan Star Cave. There are many forces there. The White Bone Palace, where the juniors are, is one of them. In addition, there are many secret realms that have not been fully explored, from which rich treasures can be obtained, but the risks are also greater. The 6th layer belongs to Xiangxing Cave. It is said that the Star Master of Fingyuan Star Cave and his star envoys practice in it, and other casual cultivators rarely enter it. There is also a ghost market that is famous throughout the cultivation world, where you can find all kinds of rare and strange treasures. As for the 7th floor, legend has it that there is a ghost city called Fengdu, which is full of countless powerful ghosts. Even a Yuanying Zenjin may not be able to escape. But the entrance to the 7th floor is sealed by the Xiangxing Cave, and one must use the treasures they have refined to enter. The White Bone Ghost Cultivator said in one breath. Chapter 738 Ghost Market. Fengdu Ghost City. Lu Xuan muttered to himself. He was not very interested in the 7th level of Fingyuan Star Cave mentioned by the White Bone Ghost Cultivator. With his current strength, exploring there would only bring him trouble. The main purpose of coming here was just to find a suitable cave, to transplant the evil spirit plants in the cave. while reducing the pressure on the spirit field of the Thunder Mars cave. It also provides them with a better growth environment. As for how to balance the spirit plants in the two caves, Xuan has his own considerations. However, he was quite interested in the ghost market mentioned by the white bone ghost cultivator. According to his understanding, evil cultivators who have the habit of cultivating spirit plants are extremely rare, and maybe they can find high-level evil spirit seeds from the ghost market. In addition, the ghost market is also the best place for him to sell some evil spirit fruits and medicines in his storage bag, so he must go there. You have been in the first level of Xuan Star Cave for many years, so you must know it very well. Tell me the truth, is this place more suitable for building a cave than other places? Xuan looked at the crumbling skull with a sharp gaze and said, relatively speaking, it is definitely not that suitable. After all, there are too many evil cultivators and evil cultivators in Xuan Star Cave, and there are many who are violent and like to kill. The killing and treasure grabbing behavior in the Star Cave has been repeatedly banned. From time to time, we can hear that some foundation building masters and giant and real people died in the Star Cave. However, with your strength, you must be able to thrive in Xuan Star Cave and suppress everything. Beidou finished speaking, and for fear of causing Xuan's displeasure, he added a flattery. You are good at talking. Xuan said lightly. How do I get to other areas from the first floor? At the edge of each floor is a Star Cave Abyss Realm, which has passages to the next floor. However, the Abyss Realm is full of dangers. If you are not careful, you will fall into the bottomless Yin Abyss. There are still a lot of ghosts in the dense Yin Key. Some undeveloped areas even have fierce ghosts, filthy evil things, etc. Even Giant and Zenran dare not absolutely guarantee that they can pass safely. If you want to go, I can lead the way, but it can only go to the third floor at most. For the rest, you can buy a special map of the White Bone Palace from me at a low price, which can guide you to other areas. There are many passages recorded on it, which are safe and reliable, and worthy of trust. The White Bone Ghost Cultivator recommended it to Xuan incessantly. Give me a map first, I will go to the 4th and 5th floors later. Xuan said in a deep voice. Okay senior. The White Bone Ghost Cultivator was delighted and responded loudly. The cultivators who are qualified to go to the 4th and 5th floors are most likely Giant and Zenran. He didn't expect that he would be so lucky this time. As long as Xuan is satisfied, the small object he casually threw out is also a great opportunity for Beidou. Thinking of this, he became more enthusiastic again. With a click, the corner of the already formed skeleton's mouth struggled to smile. Then, he immediately took out a dark white map from an inconspicuous storage bag on the ribs. The map seemed to be made of some kind of bones, with a lot of information about the abyss marked on it. How many spirit stones? Xuan took the dark white map and asked casually. Senior, just take it and use it. Beidou Ghost Xiu rubbed his slender finger bones, and said a little embarrassedly. You can take this middle grade spirit stone. How could Xuan take something from a key training ghost cultivator for free? Before he finished speaking, a middle grade spirit stone with spiritual light flowing in front of Beidou floated in front of him. Although he didn't know how much this map cost, it was mass produced and sold by key training ghost cultivators, so one middle grade spirit stone was more than enough. Thank you senior. Beidou Ghost Xiu knelt down with a click of his kneecap. Take me to the 2nd and 3rd floors first. Xuan said to Beidou. Beidou Ghost Cultivator led him out of the town quickly, into a gloomy wasteland, and all the way to the border of the wasteland. On the other side of the border was boundless yin energy. Even with Xuan's powerful spiritual awareness, he could not see what was hidden outside. Senior, please come this way. Beidou Cultivator walked carefully in front, and guided Xuan in the direction of advance. After entering the 2nd and 3rd floors of Xuan Star Cave, Xuan looked around, and did not stay for long. Although the yin energy of the 2nd and 3rd floors was already strong enough, it was not much different from the yin energy environment that naturally grew in his current cave, and could not provide a sufficient cultivation environment for those evil spirit plants of higher and higher grades. Senior, I can only go here. At the entrance to the passage to the 4th floor, Beidou Ghost Cultivator looked at the cold wind in front of him and whispered. Even if I have the map of the White Bone Palace, and can avoid those dangerous secret realms and powerful ghosts, my cultivation is too poor. If I accidentally encounter the yin wind inside, I may collapse on the spot and die without a complete body. I'm sorry that I can't continue to do this little thing for you, senior. His tone was full of apology. It's okay, I can go in alone. Lu Xuan waved his hand and said, this yin soul pearl can nourish and strengthen the soul, which is very useful for you ghost cultivators. In addition, there are 3 medium grade spirit stones as your reward this time. This white bone ghost cultivator saved him a lot of work, and he was very satisfied in his heart, so he was generous for once. The yin soul pearl was a light bowl treasure that bloomed from the yin Sephora japonica many years ago. It has been kept in the corner of the storage bag. Although it is only the 2nd grade, it is very suitable for the white bone ghost cultivator who is still in the key training stage. Thank you, senior. Ghost 17 was very grateful. Both the medium grade spirit stone and the yin soul pearl were of great use to him. What Lu Xuan brought out was already worth the several times he had been paid as a guide. See you later. Be careful when you return to the 1st floor alone, Lu Xuan said gently, entering the gusts of gloomy wind. The white bone ghost cultivator watched his figure disappear and sighed for a long time before falling off one by one, silently blending into the background. Where should I choose to build a cave? Half a day later, Lu Xuan appeared in the abyss passage on the 5th floor, and arc black light surged from his hands, rolling up the ghosts in the passage. The black light was the soul binding secret method in the soul binding sutra. Lu Xuan had studied and practiced for a long time, and it was natural for him to deal with these ghosts who were at most at the foundation building level. He had to consider 2 factors when choosing a location to build a cave. One was that the yin energy was strong and pure enough, and it was best to have an evil place that could meet the special needs of some high-level evil spirit plants. In addition, it was best to be a little desolate, and there should not be too many evil cultivators in a certain area around, so as not to affect his farming. Although he had full confidence in his current strength, it would be best if he could have less trouble. Let's put the location selection aside and go to the ghost market first to see if I can get 1 or 2 high-level evil spirit seeds, he thought as he looked at the densely packed ghosts and the soul guiding lamp. Chapter 739 Bloodspring Clam Mother. There are plenty of ghosts and spirits in this abyss passage. After Lu Xuan filled the soul guiding lamp with candles, he took out the soul destroying bell magic weapon and led the dumbfounded ghosts into the magic weapon. He originally planned to go deep into the yin key, find 1 or 2 fierce ghosts, and go back to nourish the ghost eating evil vine. But after thinking about it carefully, he finally gave up. After all, this was already deep in the Fengdu Star Cave, and it was not certain what powerful ghosts were hidden in the abyss. It would be better to go to the ghost market and spend some spirit stones to buy a few. Thinking of this, he honestly followed the instructions on the map and entered the 6th floor of the Fengdu Star Cave. The 6th floor is a station of Xiangxing Cave in Fengdu Star Cave. There are guards patrolling everywhere. After Lu Xuan asked, he found the ghost market mentioned by the white bone ghost cultivator. At this moment, he showed the cultivation level of the early stage of Jianden, and his appearance was still that of a sinister young man. Under the dual effects of Kai and Qi and weird mask and King Fui feather clothes, he was not worried that his true appearance and cultivation would be exposed. Entering the ghost market, you can see many unorthodox monks with strange breath and strange shapes wandering around. There are some shops in the ghost market, which are probably owned by powerful forces like the White Bone Palace, and more are some stalls. Most of the treasures displayed on the stalls are related to evil ways. Rare materials from various ghosts, evil magic tools with vicious refining methods, evil skills of varying grades, etc. Lu Xuan strolled slowly in the ghost market, paying attention to the various evil treasures that appeared around. The ghost market is guarded by Xiangxing cave monks and protected by powerful formations, so there is no need to worry about safety issues. As for leaving the ghost market, it has little to do with Xiangxing cave. Because there are too many evil ways in the ghost market, there are many acts of killing and stealing treasures outside the ghost market. Among the countless evil treasures, there were not many spiritual medicines, and they were basically mature plants. Lu Xuan did not see many evil spirits. Occasionally, 1 or 2 appeared, but they were just some ordinary types of grades and varieties, which did not arouse much interest in him. Just out of curiosity, he bought a few and went back to plant them to see if they could produce unexpected surprises from the light ball after they matured. While he was observing around, he was thinking about the evil treasures he could take out. Among the mature spiritual plants, there are 5th grade soul burning flowers, evil spirit fruits, and Yuan crying wood. If it's appropriate, you can sell them. As for treasures, there are 2-faced holy infants, multi-armed corpse slaves, Tei in wooden boxes, and Yunsha bottles, ghost sorrow strange picture, which are much more valuable than spiritual medicines, especially the Yunsha bottles and ghost sorrow strange picture, which are 6th grade treasures. Keep them if you can. As for the skills, there are 6th grade blood nerf, Myther World True Water Forbidden Method and Soul Binding Sutra. Once they are spread out, it is likely to cause great trouble. It is better to practice them yourself and not consider selling them for the time being. Well, when you think about it, it is not the wealth of an ordinary mid-stage giant and cultivator at all. Lu Xuan thought secretly in his heart. Just in terms of evil and strange treasures, he is not inferior to those evil cultivators of the same level, not to mention that he has more normal treasures. Too many treasures is also a kind of trouble. I don't know whether I should keep them all. He thought very versatile. Suddenly, a stall not far ahead caught his attention. The stall owner was a bald monk with a mid-stage giant and cultivation base. His pupils were grayish white, and his face was covered with ferocious centipede-like scars that kept wriggling. He exuded an extremely fierce aura. On the stall was a large white jade basin, which was filled with mostly blood, and inside it was a huge clamshell with a strange shape. The surface of the clamshell was deep red like blood, surrounded by circles of bright lines, and the part hidden in the blood kept gurgling bloody bubbles, exuding a strong bloody smell. Outside the bloody giant shell, there was also a dark chain wrapped around it, and many obscure runes were engraved on the chain. Excuse me, fellow Daoist, what is your name? What is the origin of this strange clamshell? Lu Xuan bowed and asked the bald monk. Bloodspring Clam Mother. The bald monk's grayish white pupils swept over, glanced at Lu Xuan indifferently, and replied simply. Lu Xuan didn't care about his attitude, and continued to observe the bloody clamshell. The fact that this blood-colored clamshell was brought in as a living creature probably has a lot to do with its purpose. If you don't tell me, I have my own way to know. He circulated his spiritual power, and a stream of blood from the white jade basin seeped into the cracks of the blood-colored clamshell. The bald monk looked over expressionlessly, and when he saw that Lu Xuan did not make any other moves, he turned his head away. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on this blood-colored clamshell, and he instantly learned detailed information about it. Bloodspring Clam Mother, larval stage, 5th grade evil creature, proficient in various blood path secret arts, likes to grow in a blood sea environment, and feeds on various blood essences. Its offensiveness is the lowest among the same grade monsters, and it can breed a large amount of monster blood, and is very popular among all kinds of blood path monks. A 5th grade evil creature that can produce a lot of blood, and it is still in the larval stage. Lu Xuan's heart was instantly moved. At present, there is only one evil spirit, the flesh spirit god, in the cave, so it is not unacceptable to raise another bloodspring clam mother. Besides, this bloodspring clam mother can continuously breed demon blood, which can be used to nourish and cultivate the corresponding evil spirit plants, and can also be used to assist in the cultivation of the blood nerve. Lu Xuan thought secretly. While he was thinking, he saw that the bloodspring clam mother that he nourished with blood and water gushed out a high stream of blood. Then, the second, the third, a continuous stream of blood gushed out from the crack. This amount of water spray is comparable to some powerful actors in the learning materials of the previous life. Lu Xuan secretly complained. But the impressions given by the two are completely different. This bloodspring clam mother is completely terrifying. Lu Xuan shook his head secretly and felt the strong evil spirit on the light group monk again. With a thought, a strange spiritual fruit full of grey and white lines appeared in his hand. The spiritual fruit was filled with strong evil spirits, almost breaking through the fruit wall. It was the 5th grade evil spirit fruit. After taking it, it can temper the cultivator's body with pure evil spirit. For cultivators who have practiced corresponding skills, it is no different from a rare treasure. Sure enough, the appearance of the evil spirit fruit immediately aroused the interest of the bald monk, and a hint of surprise quietly emerged in his grey-white pupils. "May I ask what your name is? What is the origin of this blood spring clam mother?" Lu Xuan continued to ask with a smile. "Renhan. The blood spring clam mother is a 5th grade evil creature that can breed a large amount of demon blood and can be used to practice blood magic," the bald monk said slowly, his eyes always staying on the grey-white spiritual fruit in Lu Xuan's hand. "In one sentence, let the cultivator in the middle stage of the giant and introduce the mysterious treasure to me." Lu Xuan smiled secretly in his heart. His expression was calm, and the evil spirit fruit lay quietly in his palm. "How about I use this evil spirit fruit to exchange for this blood spring clam mother of the lowest friend?" Chapter 740 Fragrant Meat Branch. "Yes." The bald monk agreed immediately after hearing Lu Xuan's question. The technique he was practicing required a rich and pure evil spirit, so he could see at a glance the extraordinary nature of this evil spirit fruit. If he could take this spiritual fruit, it would be of great benefit to him. Wait a minute. When he was about to hand the blood spring clam mother to Lu Xuan, the sinister young man opposite stopped him. "Fellow Daoist Ren, although I'm willing to exchange treasures with you, the value of these two treasures is not equal, right? Both are of the 5th grade, but this evil spirit fruit took me a lot of time and energy to cultivate, and it will take effect immediately after taking it. And your blood spring clam mother is still in its juvenile stage, and it will take a lot of energy and resources to raise it to maturity. During the period of raising, it has a very limited effect on the cultivator," Lu Xuan said slowly. "The blood spring clam mother and the 4th grade rune chain that locks it belong to you, and I will add another 10,000 low grade spirit stones," the bald monk said hoarsely. Since the blood spring muscle mother had low attack power and was only in the larval stage, it was bound with the 4th grade rune chain artifact, so it was not painful to lose it. As for the 10,000 low grade spirit stones, he also admitted that what Lu Xuan said made some sense. Because of the urgency of obtaining the evil spirit fruit, he directly added a price that Lu Xuan could not refuse. "Okay, Rendao is quite straightforward." Lu Xuan narrowed his eyes and smiled. The reason he found was indeed reasonable for other cultivators, but it was different for him. Even if it was a larval stage blood spring muscle mother, as long as it could continue to spray blood, it could nourish some evil spirit plants in the cave. Not to mention the light ball reward that can be harvested after it is raised to maturity. The reward for a 5th grade evil creature is estimated to be much richer than that of an ordinary 5th grade spirit plant. The two exchanged with each other, and Lu Xuan's spiritual consciousness swept over the blood spring muscle mother and put it into the gluttonous insect sack with great satisfaction. After getting a larval stage evil creature that he liked, he continued to wander around the ghost market. Because the ghost market is located on the 6th floor of Fingyuan Star Cave, there are many high-level cultivators, some of whom have the foundation building cultivation level, and some of whom have a deep aura, and are likely to be Yuan Ying's engine. Suddenly, Lu Xuan stopped and looked carefully at a stall in front of him. The things displayed on the stall were very unique, all of which were some broken magic tools, array plates, talismans and the like. What attracted Lu Xuan was a huge banner with many cracks on it, and countless ghosts and phantoms were crowded on the flag. "Dao, what is the origin of this banner magic tool?" Lu Xuan asked the stall owner. The stall owner was a thin old man wearing animal skins. When he heard Lu Xuan's question, a dry smile appeared on his wrinkled face. "This is a 10,000 souls banner. It was once used by an evil cultivator to refine into a magic weapon. After its owner died unexpectedly, it was passed down through many twists and turns and finally came into my hands. However, fellow Daoist can also see that this banner is severely damaged, and its power is less than 1/10 of that. Only the countless ghosts refined inside the banner remain. Because the spirituality of the magic weapon has been greatly damaged, although the ranks of these ghosts are still there, their strength has also been greatly reduced," the old man said very sincerely. "Can it be repaired completely?" Lu Xuan asked curiously. "It is possible, but it is extremely difficult. We need to invite a master of refining to have hope. However, the difficulty of restoring it is estimated to be not much lower than refining a 10,000 souls banner again." The old man saw that Lu Xuan was at the same Jiandan realm and knew that he could not hide it, so he told the truth. I'm somewhat interested in this broken 10,000 souls banner. Daoist, please name a price. Lu Xuan said lightly. What he was interested in was not the material or power of this broken 10,000 souls banner, but the countless ghosts and resentments inside. Finally, after some bargaining, he successfully obtained the damaged 10,000 souls banner at the price of 13,000 low-grade spirit stones. There were more evil treasures in the ghost market than Lu Xuan had imagined. After strolling for a while, he bought several evil instruments from some stalls, which were basically of the 4th grade level, and could be used to cultivate evil spirit plants in the cave. When he had almost walked through the entire ghost market, Lu Xuan suddenly smelled an extremely tempting fragrance, and he could also feel a ray of vigorous vitality in the fragrance. The smell of spirit seeds. Lu Xuan said secretly, following the fragrance to a large stall. The closer he got to the stall, the stronger the fragrance became, as if it was going to penetrate into Lu Xuan's flesh and blood and even his sea of consciousness. Finally, Lu Xuan's eyes were fixed on a strange branch. The branch was flesh-colored and shaped like an arm, and the strong fragrance it exuded attracted many cultivators to stop in front of the stall. But when you get closer and observe it carefully, you can find that the branch has a vague Buddha nature, and it looks like it is keeping people away. Interesting. Lu Xuan thought secretly in his heart. Dao, is this branch a spiritual seed? Can you tell me its species and origin? Lu Xuan asked. The stall owner's figure and face were hidden in the thick black fog, and his specific cultivation level could not be seen. It's a 6th grade spiritual seed. I don't know the specific species. I got it by chance from a secret realm. Hearing Lu Xuan's question, a strange voice came from the black fog. Can you let me take a look? I guarantee that I won't damage the spiritual seed at all. Lu Xuan asked earnestly. Yes. After getting the answer from the mysterious stall owner, Lu Xuan squatted down and picked up the strange branch that was as thick as his wrist. The part where the branch touched his skin felt slippery, as if it was no different from real flesh and blood. The rich fragrance enveloped Lu Xuan, as if it wanted to merge with him. Lu Xuan's mind moved, and a thin layer of dark mud meat appeared in the palm of his hand, and the branch was planted in it. After refining the gluttonous insect capsule into a magic weapon, it was more convenient and quick for him to take out the treasure from it, and he could also control it to come out from a certain part of the body. Therefore, he could complete the planting process without anyone noticing, and thus know the detailed information of the spirit seed. The thin dark mud meat disappeared in an instant, as if it had never appeared. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on the strange branch in his hand, and he instantly learned the specific information about it. Fragrant meat branch, a 6th grade spiritual plant. According to legend, a Buddha fell into a demon, and his flesh and blood could condense into an evil spirit seed. The spirit plant needs to be watered with flesh and blood when it grows. The higher the grade of flesh and blood, the more conducive it is to the growth of the spirit plant. After the spirit plant matures, taking the flesh can increase lifespan and strengthen the body, but at the same time, a trace of evil Buddha aura will be hidden in the body, and the aura will be integrated with the flesh and blood, which is extremely difficult to detect. The more flesh you take, the stronger the aura becomes. After a certain stage, it will even attract the incarnation of the evil Buddha, devour the monks alive, and strengthen itself. Have you ever eaten the fragrant evil Buddha meat? The 6th grade fragrant meat branch, the spirit seed is actually condensed from the flesh and blood of an evil Buddha. I have seen another special way of condensing the seed. Lu Xuan exclaimed secretly. From the information, I can know that planting this spirit seed is not small, but fortunately, as long as I don't take it, it won't affect me much. Wait until it matures, and harvest the light ball reward, and then take action, as soon as possible. He thought secretly. Chapter 741, Soul Insect Fungus Evil Cultivator's Gift. Since there is a way to avoid the risks brought by this 6th grade evil spirit plant, Lu Xuan will naturally not miss such a high level spirit seed. He gently put the strange branch back to the stall and looked up at the mysterious existence in the black fog. Dao, I want to buy this spirit seed. Please name a price. The surging black fog paused for a moment, as if thinking about what price to give. Then, The hoarse voice came into Lu Xuan's ears. 80,000 spirit stones. Wow, that's a bit unfair. Although Lu Xuan is now wealthy, he started bargaining with the idea of saving as much as possible. It is true that this is a 6th grade spiritual seed, but with your strength and vision, you cannot know the origin of the spiritual seed. It is even more impossible for me, a small cultivator in the early stage of Jianden, to understand. Under the premise of all unknowns, cultivating this 6th grade spiritual seed will take a lot of risks. In addition, this spiritual seed is extremely evil at first glance, and it may cause harm to the spiritual planter during the planting process. In this case, such a high price is not appropriate. Lu Xuan talked freely. You name the price. In my opinion, it is worth about 50,000 low-grade spiritual stones. Lu Xuan directly cut a small half. To low. 51,000? After several rounds of bargaining, the fragrant meat branch spiritual seed was finally sold for 60,000 spiritual stones. Lu Xuan sent 600 middle-grade spiritual stones to the black fog, and left with satisfaction with the strange branches. After wandering around the entire ghost market, he finally found 3 5th-grade spiritual seeds on the stall of a cultivator in the middle stage of Jianden. The spiritual seed is called soul worm fungus. After cultivation, it is in a half worm and half fungus state, which has great attraction to demons. According to the monk, even Yuan engine often uses soul worm fungus as bait to enter the void to fish for foreign demons. Lu Xuan also secretly obtained detailed information about this strange spiritual plant. Soul worm fungus, a 5th grade spiritual plant, has a strange shape and is cultivated with the flesh and blood of demons. After maturity, it has an irresistible attraction to various demons and can attract demons within a certain range. It is often used as bait for fishing demons. In order to obtain certain special species of demons, Yuan masters who are good at this use soul worm fungus to refine bait and enter the void to fish for foreign demons. The bait is me. Are you the fisherman, or the one being fished? Using a 5th grade spiritual plant as bait and fishing for demons. Sure enough, the world of fishermen is not something that ordinary spiritual plant masters like us can imagine. Lu Xuan shook his head secretly, thinking that this behavior was extremely absurd. He finally bought the 3 soul insect fungus spirit seeds at the price of 18,000 low-grade spirit stones each. I didn't expect to have such a big harvest this time in Fingyuan Star Cave. After Lu Xuan walked around the entire ghost market, he felt extremely satisfied. He gained a lot in this ghost market, including the 6th grade fragrant meat branch, the 5th grade soul insect fungus, and the 5th grade evil blood spring clam mother. In addition, there was the Wanan banner with countless ghosts and several evil magic tools that helped him cultivate evil spirit plants. In addition to these, there will probably be more to be delivered to the door later. Lu Xuan glanced at the palm of his hand quietly, and a grey-white pupil emerged from the crack, presenting the surrounding scene in front of him. He observed along the way and noticed that several people appeared around him quite a lot. The cultivation level of the early stage of Jianden, plus the intentional calculation, it's stable. How can I refuse the high quality flesh and blood that is delivered? Lu Xuan smiled and restrained his breath, left the ghost market, and went to the 5th floor of Fingyuan Star Cave. The 5th floor passage to cultivators flew out of the Densian energy. Where did they go? They were quite fast. One of the old women whispered to the other person beside her. With my evil ghost watching, they shouldn't be able to get far. Another person held a talisman of evil ghosts, and a wisp of green air lingered on the talisman, indicating the location of the evil ghost. That's right, you old ghosts are proficient in the art of controlling ghosts and good at tracking. It's hard to escape if you catch up with them. The ugly old woman laughed sinisterly. The two of them accidentally found a casual cultivator in the ghost market. He was in the early stage of Jianden. When buying rare treasures, he took out a bunch of medium-grade spirit stones without blinking an eye. It seemed that he was very wealthy. They immediately became greedy and decided to kill him halfway. I don't know where that kid came from. His cultivation is average, but his wealth is quite strong. He dares to show off in the ghost market. It's no wonder that the two of us targeted him. The old woman whispered to her companion who looked like an evil ghost. The two not only set up stalls to sell goods in the ghost market, but also occasionally robbed treasures. Once they found a fat sheep, they immediately transformed into robbery cultivators and made a big profit. The ghosts controlled by their companions had great magical powers, were mysterious and unpredictable, and were extremely difficult to detect. Several robberies and killings were extremely smooth. It's better to be careful. The fierce ghost cultivator stared at the evil ghost talisman in his hand and reminded the old woman through voice transmission. It seems something is wrong. The fierce ghost cultivator exclaimed lightly, and the evil ghost pattern on the talisman seemed to be getting closer and closer to him. Are you two Taoist friends looking for this? At this moment, a clear voice came into the ears of the two. The voice was gentle, but it fell into the ears of the two people like a thunderbolt in the clear sky. Looking in the direction of the voice, I saw a sinister young man slowly appearing in the thick yin energy in front. The young man held a dark blue ghost in his hand, and a thin net of clear air was wrapped around the ghost. The net kept shrinking as it looked at the two people. Black smoke gushed out of the dark blue ghost, and its ferocious facial features kept changing. It was obvious that it was in great pain. Not good. The two shouted in unison. Very good. After a few breaths, Xuan took out 2 storage bags from the two corpses and broke off a thigh and threw it to the big meatball next to him. Feeling the vigorous vitality coming from the flesh and blood of the giant and cultivator, the big meatball jumped 3 feet high in excitement. The pink and white pupils on the top of the head turned slightly, and the thigh suddenly turned into a blood mist in the sky, which was sucked into its stomach. The evil cultivators of Fingyu and Star Cave are really generous. They gave such a great gift to a newcomer like me. Xuan couldn't help but sigh. He found that someone was staring at him in the ghost market. When he just came out, there was even a mysterious little ghost following him. If it weren't for the void nightmare eyes and his own practice of the breaking delusion pupil technique, he might not have noticed the existence of the little ghost. After confirming that the two could not pose a threat to him, Xuan simply took advantage of the situation and brought them to the 5th floor. There were no Xianxing cave monks stationed on the 5th floor, and the management was relatively lax, which was just right for killing people and stealing treasures. The two were already one realm lower than him. Under the continuous attacks of his ghost sorrow picture, the prison King Kong statue, the magic weapon Peacock King's sword, and the Xuanshan King Wei Mao Fa, that restrained demons and evil spirits, they died in Xuan's hands in a few encounters. Such a great gift cannot be wasted. Xuan performed a soul binding secret technique to bind the souls of the two. The two evil cultivators' souls looked at their bodies being eaten up and their treasures being taken away, and they all showed resentment. Just as he was about to say something, the two souls were sucked away by a strange lantern, leaving no trace. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 742, Shadow Eating Ghost Raising Technique. It's a good harvest to come to Fingyu and Star Cave. Xuan held up the bone handle of the soul guiding lamp and looked at the pale candle in the human skin lampshade. On the candle, densely packed ghosts were crowded together, leaving no space. In terms of ghosts, there were high quality souls of 5th grade Giant and Zenran, and a large number of low level ghosts collected from the black fog of the abyss. Although the amount of blood and flesh was a little less, they were all high quality goods. 1 ounce was equivalent to dozens of kilograms of ordinary monster meat. In terms of blood, the bloodspring muscle mother, an evil creature that produces blood on its own, completely solved the problem of insufficient blood source. Now it's time to deal with you, little ghost. Xuan stretched out his hand and shot, and the dark blue ghost that had been quietly following him before appeared. Even though it was firmly bound by the fine net of clear air, it was still possible to see the ferocity of the little ghost. It kept baring its teeth at Xuan, looking like it was choosing someone to bite. The body kept switching between reality and illusion. If it weren't for the Xuanshan King Wei magic that naturally restrained this kind of ghost, it would have been very likely to escape the fine net and escape into the void. This little ghost has nothing else, but he is good at tracking. Xuan couldn't help but sigh. After he found someone spying on him in the ghost market, he kept paying attention. After coming out, He kept performing the breaking delusion pupil technique, and finally found this blue-black little ghost that seemed to have sneaked into his shadow. He thought about it, and a wisp of yin-ki floated towards the little ghost's black lips. The blue-black little ghost was not stupid, and worried about being tricked, so he turned his head away. Eat! Lu Xuan shouted, and the clear air fine net that bound the little ghost suddenly shrank rapidly, and wisps of black smoke gushed out of the blue-black little ghost's body, as if it was about to be directly purified by the fine net. The yin-ki was sent to its black lips again. This time, the blue-black little ghost honestly swallowed the yin-ki into his stomach. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on the body of the little ghost, and he immediately learned detailed information about it. Shadow-eating ghost, a 5th grade ghost, moves in an unpredictable way, is extremely vicious, has a strong tracking ability, can blend into the figure of a cultivator without making any sound, and after completely blending with the shadow, can possess the cultivator and occupy his body. It's actually a 5th grade ghost, no wonder it's so difficult to deal with. Lu Xuan thought to himself. This so-called shadow-eating ghost is different from ordinary ghosts. If an ordinary kind and real person has taken a fancy to buy it, it is highly likely that he will not be able to get rid of it. The two evil cultivators use this evil ghost to successfully rob and kill several times. Although there may be only a few melons and dates in the storage bag, I still have to take a look. Lu Xuan broke the simple restrictions on the storage bag and took out the things inside one by one. The art of raising ghosts records more than 10 methods of breeding and raising ghosts. Each of them is extremely vicious and harmful to nature. It is not suitable for a kind-hearted person like me. Ghost fetus? Yin-ki cannot reveal the details. It must be bred by secret methods. You can try it if you have the chance. Although Lu Xuan raised an evil spirit in the cave, he had never raised a ghost before, so he was a little curious. Apart from these, the rest did not arouse much interest in him. 2 4th grade little ghosts, food prepared by the ghost-eating evil vine, and a 5th grade magic weapon were ordinary. As for the storage bag left by the old woman, after opening it, 2 5th grade magic weapons were found, a slender flying sword, which was extremely sharp, and a black robe made of an unknown leather bag, which had a very strong protective effect. In addition, there were some odds and ends, such as elixirs and talismans, and the grades were not high. However, the total number of spirit stones was nearly 100,000, which surprised Lu Xuan a little, greatly improving his impression that old casual cultivators were poor. But at least I got a few 5th grade magic tools, which can be exchanged for a lot of spirit stones. The most important thing is the 5th grade little ghost and the ghost raising technique. One can be used to cultivate the 6th grade ghost eating evil vine, and the other gives me another way to obtain light balls. Lu Xuan sighed secretly and went up from the 5th floor all the way back to the 1st floor. Then, he came to the star-picking tower from the entrance of Fingyuan Star Cave. He did not rent a cave in Fingyuan Star Cave for the time being. He will make a decision after the mother plant of the holy infant fruit and the 2 daughter plants are fully mature. Back to the cave. As soon as the 2 5th grade formations were opened, a group of spirit beasts such as Fat Bird, Thunder Dragon, King Yulan came out to greet him and surrounded Lu Xuan for caressing. After Lu Xuan comforted them a little, he couldn't wait to come to the spirit field. In the core spirit field area of the cave, the spirit field is covered with rare spirit soil such as Wuling soil, thunder sand, and 5-colored soil, and naturally those high-level spirit plants are planted. Lu Xuan came to the 8-layer palace. The first level, which had already entered the growth stage, did not show any changes compared to when he just left the cave. He used the spirit rain technique to nourish the 7th grade spiritual plant, and then took the huge wind hole stone out of the gluttonous insect capsule. From the many holes of the wind hole stone came the sound of whimpering or whistling wind, and bursts of strange wind gushed out, wrapping the 8-layer palace spiritual plant. In Lu Xuan's spiritual perception, the speed of the strange wind in the first palace increased a bit, and the spiritual plant exuded a kind of vigorous upward power. The 5th grade wind hole stone is so huge, it should be almost possible to successfully cultivate the first level. Lu Xuan looked at the first level spiritual flower in front of him with strange wind and strange phenomena, and couldn't help but sigh. The 7th grade Yimukingla vine has only been cultivated to the 1st stage, and it can harvest the first level of Xingxiu Zenfa from it. In the same level of the 8-layer palace, the 8 spiritual flowers are equal, and the light ball reward for harvesting the first flower should only be stronger, not weaker. After cultivating other high-level spiritual plants in the spiritual field, he came to the area of the netherworld spiritual field. First, we have to build a residence for the blood spring mother clam. The blood spring mother clam needs to grow in the blood sea environment and be fed with blood essence. It is an evil creature and has such conditions. It is not appropriate to put it in the small lake where spiritual beasts such as the fire dragon grow. Xuan found a vacant land in the corner of the netherworld spiritual field and cast the earth drawing technique. Soon, a small pond about 2 feet long and wide appeared. Then, he took out dozens of white jade bottles. The small bottles contained the blood essence that was originally submitted to the dragons. Due to the large number and low quality, the flesh spirit god no longer eats this kind of blood essence, but it is quite suitable to use it to feed the juvenile blood spring mother. Then, he filled the small pond with spiritual springs, and the dragon's blood essence dissolved. The whole small pond was blood red, and exuded a strong bloody smell. Xuan took out the blood spring mother clam, untied the rune chain on it, signed a contract, and put it into the small pond. This juvenile evil creature had been placed in the white jade basin, with limited mobility and a poor growth environment. It was still a little uncomfortable when it first arrived in the small pool of pure dragon blood. After a while, it became somewhat alive, and kept spurting out blood. Seeing this, Xuan was satisfied. He planted 3 soul worm fungi into the blank spiritual field, and planted the 6th grade fragrant meat branch into the dark mud meat. Then, he came to the ghost eating evil vine, took out the 5th grade shadow eating ghost, and directly grabbed a part of the little ghost's body, and stuffed it into the ghost eating evil vine. Chapter 743, Myriad Barriers Mysterious Crystal Array. The demand for flesh and blood from the cave spirit plants will increase dramatically in the future. Xuan couldn't help but sigh after planting the fragrant meat branches and soul worm fungi. Fortunately, I have the flesh mountain monk who has the magical power of flesh and blood and can continuously proliferate evil flesh and blood. Xuan smiled and took out a large piece of black and red flesh and blood from the gluttonous insect sac. The black and red flesh and blood retained the Buddha power of the prison suppressing Vajra statue, and it had been suppressed in the gluttonous insect sac that was refined into a magic weapon, so it couldn't make any waves. As soon as it came out of the gluttonous insect sac, the black and red flesh and blood seemed to be reborn and continued to breed green and red flesh buds. The flesh buds grew rapidly, but seemed to sense the existence of some danger and stopped immediately. Xuan reached out and grabbed a large piece of black and red flesh and blood. The illusory face of the flesh mountain monk appeared on the surface of the flesh. Deo Ialu, please, give me a quick death. The face kept shaking, as if it would disappear at any time. What do you mean, Daoist friend? Isn't it good that I spared your life? Xuan smiled and placed the black and red meat around the fragrant meat branches and other spiritual plants. I either fell into a deep sleep or just regained consciousness and watched my flesh and blood being cut off by you, Daoist friend. That little bit of flesh and blood essence is almost squeezed out by you. The illusory face of the meat mountain monk said painfully. Daoist friend, don't give up hope. As long as you are alive, there is hope of escape. As for being squeezed out, it's not because the amount of flesh and blood you provided is not enough. Sometimes you have to look for your own reasons. After staying in the gluttonous insect capsule for so many years, has your spiritual power increased? Have you condensed your flesh and blood well? Xuan asked like a machine gun. When the black and red flesh and blood was stunned, he put it back into the gluttonous insect capsule. Are you kidding? How can you bear to let such a good tool die now? After the flesh and blood are completely squeezed out, you can extract the soul left in the flesh and blood of the meat mountain monk and make the best use of it. He suddenly remembered the evil cultivator who planted the fangbone demon seed. It was he who had planted the special pollen on himself, thus exposing his position to the meat mountain monk. Coming to the corner, Xuan saw that the evil cultivator had completely lost his human form. He had no spiritual intelligence, only simple instincts, and looked like a demon. Strange and slender bones extended from his body, stretching his skin in a very strange way. Xuan focused his mind on it, and learned that the fangbone demon seed was growing very well, so he was relieved. The 5 internal organs treasure plant has entered the fully mature stage. It is estimated that a good light bowl will be harvested within 1 or 2 years. Lu Xuan glanced at the strange spiritual plant shaped like the 5 internal organs not far away, and he was happy. After planting the spiritual seeds and evil things harvested from Fingyuan Star Cave, Lu Xuan basically stayed in the cave for a period of time, cultivating spiritual plants and raising spiritual beasts. Half a year passed in a blink of an eye. At the foot of the mountain, the sky was full of fine lightning and light, and Lu Xuan staggered out of it. I have already mastered the several thunder methods in the Xingxiao True method, but I'm not very proficient in it. The success rate of this thunder escape is not high, and there is a lot of room for improvement in the escape speed and distance. However, it is much better than the 5-element escape method, especially in an environment like the Thunder Mars Cave. In order to practice the Xingxiao True method, Lu Xuan took another piece of pure glass G leaves to greatly improve his understanding within a certain period of time, so that he could initially master the first level of this supreme method. He also dabbled in several thunder methods in it, but he still needed to polish them. Lu Xuan's mind moved, and a silver white light surged out of his body. With a sizzling sound, a lightning arc flashed by, and his figure fell out dozens of feet away. When he was about to practice again, the thunder dragon Haiyu appeared beside him with lightning. It seemed to see that Lu Xuan was not very proficient in thunder escape, and it kept roaring, and the sound was urgent, conveying a thought to Lu Xuan. Watch me. It should be like this, and like this. As soon as the thought appeared in Lu Xuan's mind, the young thunder dragon hand turned into silver white lightning, disappeared in an instant, and reappeared in an instant, easily and freely, as if it was natural. Don't interrupt me, you are a natural, Lu Xuan said angrily. The teaching of the young thunder dragon hound was like a top student helping a poor student solve a problem, directly skipping the steps, writing down the answer, and then asking, have you learned it? Lu Xuan couldn't stand this kind of gifted monster, and the spiritual energy in his body was running rapidly. A lightning bolt flew out from his palm at a high speed, and landed on the body of the young thunder dragon hound. The lightning struck down, flowing on its silver white fur, and was instantly absorbed by the silver white horns on its head. The young beast shook its fur, and cried out with great pleasure, as if the lightning just now was tickling it. The secret method of the 5 thunder palm is well mastered. The thunder is powerful, and is particularly restrained against demons and evil spirits. Lu Xuan thought secretly. After practicing the Divine Sky True method for a while, Lu Xuan returned to the house, and continued to refine the 7th grade glazed red phoenix bone. After such a long period of refinement, the piece of magical phoenix bone had already fused with his bones by 70% to 80%, and ordinary 6th grade magic tools could not cause serious damage to his bones. After practicing for half a day, Lu Xuan did not forget his original intention, and came to the spiritual field, patrolling around, inspecting and cultivating many spiritual plants. The improved 4th grade Earth Fire Heart Lotus and 5-element fruit have entered the mature stage, but because the grade has not yet been upgraded to the 5th grade, Lu Xuan does not intend to harvest the light ball, but to get as many spiritual seeds as possible, broadcast the spiritual seeds, and speed up the improvement. Another 5th grade spiritual plant has matured. Lu Xuan came to a spiritual field on the edge of the lake. In the spiritual field, a snow lotus quietly bloomed. Under the lotus, layers of snow crystals were densely packed, which showed how difficult it was for it to bloom. Lu Xuan carefully picked it off. Snow barrier ice jade lotus, a 5th grade spiritual plant, planted in icy spiritual soil, and nourished with cold spiritual fluid, can be used as the main refining material for the 5th grade ice kai pill, and can also assist in practicing corresponding skills and supernatural powers, and raising spiritual beasts of the same attribute. I still remember that the snow barrier ice jade lotus spiritual seed was given to me by Ki Wuheng Star Envoy when I was promoted to the Dun stage. I didn't expect it to finally bloom successfully today. Lu Xuan secretly sighed. Under his careful care, this snow barrier ice jade lotus has good quality, which is quite good for a 5th grade spiritual plant. For a high level spiritual plant, if an ordinary spiritual plant master can cultivate it successfully, it is not a question of quality. He put the lotus with an extremely cold aura into the gluttonous insect capsule, and his sight was completely attracted by the light ball that quietly emerged. Reaching out and gently touching it, the light ball shattered silently, and countless tiny light points shot up into the sky. The light points condensed into a virtual shadow of a formation plate, and instantly sank into Lu Xuan's body. Or thought flashed through his mind. Harvest a 5th grade snow barrier ice jade lotus, and obtain the 6th grade array formation, the myriad barriers mysterious crystal array. The thought disappeared, and an exquisite array plate appeared in front of Lu Xuan. The array plate was like white jade, exuding an extremely cold aura, and was engraved with countless dense array patterns, so dense that at first glance it looked like thousands of icebergs stacked together. He focused his mind on it, and immediately learned the detailed information of the array plate. The myriad barriers mysterious crystal array, a 6th grade array formation, is made by collecting a large amount of 10,000 years of ice and cold black crystals. It has the functions of both defense array and maze array, and can resist the attacks of several mid to late giant and cultivators at the same time. If a cultivator breaks into the range of the array, he will encounter countless heavy iceberg obstacles, and be attacked by pure cold air at all times. If it lasts for too long, it will cause serious damage to the body and soul, and may even perish. 6th grade array. Lu Xuan was extremely happy. Chapter 744, a notation of the sword talisman. At present, the main protective formations in the cave are the 5th grade illusion 5 element formation and the cloud bamboo arrow formation, which provide dual protection. However, even if the protective effects of the two 5th grade formations are superimposed, they are far inferior to the 6th grade 10,000 barriers mysterious crystal formation. He held the formation plate with one hand, probed his spiritual consciousness into it, and then placed the formation plate in the center of the cave. With a thought, a pale white ripple spread rapidly from the position of the formation plate, and in a blink of an eye it came to the outside of the cave. A thin layer of frost appeared quietly, and in an instant, cliffs formed by cold crystals appeared outside the cave. Lu Xuan opened his mouth and spit out a golden peacock phantom sword energy whistling out, piercing through a crystal cliff like lightning, and the remaining force was not dissipated, and then pierced through the second one, and until the third cliff, the sword energy dissipated. The Peacock King sword is different from other 5th grade flying swords. I refined it into a magic weapon, which makes it more powerful. The sword energy it generates can only pierce through two crystal cliffs in front of it. It can be seen that the protection of this 6th grade formation is very strong. Lu Xuan sighed secretly. The crystal cliffs are layered, and there are countless cliffs. After entering the formation, the body and soul will be attacked by the extremely cold air and easily get lost. Lu Xuan experimented a little, and the thousands of crystal cliffs outside the cave disappeared silently, as if they had never appeared. In the future, I can use a 10,000 barriers mysterious crystal formation to protect this cave. As for the other two 5th grade formations, I can move them to Fingyu and Star Cave in the future. Lu Xuan thought secretly in his heart. After all, there are two 7th grade spiritual plants here, and the more protection the better. The picked snow barrier ice jade lotus is not very useful to him at the moment, so he put it in the gluttonous insect bag and find an opportunity to make a move in the future. On this day, when Lu Xuan was cultivating spiritual plants in the spiritual field, his spiritual consciousness detected a movement outside the cave. He led a communication talisman to his side. The spiritual power was stimulated, and Qi Wuheng's familiar voice came from the talisman. Fellow Daoist Lu, the guardian formation of the Li Ji Cave secret realm has been closed again. It is estimated that it will be difficult to open it in the next few decades. The Yuanying Zhenjin and Jiandan Zhenren who entered the secret realm have gradually withdrawn. Daoist friends can enter the Sea of Thunder without worrying about bad guys invading the cave. The Li Ji Cave that can attract many Yuanying Zhenjin has been closed. Such a large secret realm that is rare in a century. It seems that I don't have much sense of participation. Lu Xuan chuckled and stood on the mountain peak looking at the thunder in the distance. After the secret realm appeared, he had a clear understanding, declined the invitation of familiar monks such as Yulin Sanren, and deliberately avoided it when he had to enter the Sea of Thunder to collect thunder liquid. He only saved the guardian spirit beast Xuan Kui of Liang Dao sect, and obtained the spirit seeds of the demon wood from the secret realm from a Jiandan Zhenren. He was completely outside the secret realm. After receiving this news, he felt relieved. After a large number of high-level cultivators emerged in Lihohu Cave, he had been worried that some powerful cultivators would force their way into the cave and harm the many spiritual plants in the spiritual field. Now, the cultivators gradually retreated, and Lihohu Cave returned to peace, so he could cultivate spiritual plants with peace of mind. I don't know how many cultivators have obtained great opportunities in the secret realm. Lu Xuan pondered. Such a rare secret realm will naturally have a large number of treasures flowing out, and there are not a few cultivators who have robbed them. But it is estimated that more cultivators will just become the bones under the feet of others, helping them to step into a wider world. Fortunately, I have my own track. Thinking of this, Lu Xuan couldn't help but smile. Other Chindan Zenran and even Yuanying Zenjin risked their lives and went through many dangers before they could obtain great opportunities and treasures. He only needed to cultivate spiritual plants steadily to harvest unknown treasures from the light ball. Safe and reliable with a little unknown excitement. What secret realm do you need to explore? Thinking of this, he felt a subtle sense of superiority in his heart, and he was more motivated to cultivate spiritual plants. In the Jian Kaolingshan area, after 2 5th grade sword grasses matured, such a large spiritual field only planted more than 33rd grade thunder sword grasses. However, with a rare treasure like the Dangxuan sword monument and the Yangxuan sword sheath that can nourish and improve spiritual seeds, Lu Xuan is confident that he can obtain higher grade sword grass in a short time. 5 thunder sword grasses have matured. Lu Xuan looked at the several thunder sword grasses with full translucent progress bars below and said secretly, the sword grass is shaped like a straight flying sword, with the tip of the sword reaching the sky, and there is a subtle silver white thunder light lingering on the sword body, which looks extraordinary. Lu Xuan picked 5 stalks of thunderblade grass one by one. Although this natural sword weapon is like chicken ribs to him now, it will be very popular in the grocery store. After harvesting 5 stalks of thunderblade grass, 5 white ones appeared one after another, flickering slightly in front of Lu Xuan. His palm turned into a residual image and instantly touched the 5 white light balls. The light balls shattered silently, turning into 5 slender rivers of light that flowed into Lu Xuan's body. Harvested a stalk of the 3rd grade alien thunderblade grass and obtained the 4th grade talisman wind and thunder sword talisman. A talisman shaped like a sword tip appeared in his palm. Inside the talisman, there was a strong wind, lightning and thunder, a doomsday scene. His mind was focused on it, and he immediately understood the detailed information of this 4th grade wind and thunder sword talisman. Wind and thunder sword talisman. 4th grade sword talisman. The infinite sword energy contains powerful wind and thunder power, and after being stimulated, it releases endless wind and thunder sword energy. When all the sword energy is released, it can seriously injure or even kill the cultivators in the middle and late stages of foundation building. An ordinary 4th grade sword talisman. Lu Xuan made a brief comment, harvested a 3rd grade thunderblade grass, and obtained the treasure sword talisman notes. The thought flashed through Lu Xuan's mind, and a large amount of information poured into his sea of consciousness. Sword talisman notes was written by a late giant and cultivator. The cultivator practiced both talisman making and swordsmanship. After years of searching, experimenting, and studying, he developed a variety of sword talisman refining techniques, ranging from 2nd to 4th grades. Lu Xuan stood in place, quietly absorbing and digesting the torrent of information. In a trance, he seemed to have rich experience in refining sword talismans, how to select materials, how to safely engrave sword energy on talismans, the matching of sword energy properties and talisman making materials, and many tricks when refining sword talismans. I have learned another talisman making skill. Lu Xuan smiled secretly in his heart. How did I, who only wanted to farm, become a master of all arts without realizing it? The other 3 white light balls brought Lu Xuan a 4th grade wind and thunder sword talisman and 2 sword talisman annotation experience packs. After absorbing 2 more experience packs, he was close to proficient in refining sword talismans, as if he had been immersed in making talismans for 10 years and had refined countless sword talismans. It can be regarded as another way to earn spirit stones. Sword talismans are extremely popular among talismans. They have strong attack power and are instant. They can save lives at critical moments. Many cultivators like to use them as their trump cards. Of course, it is difficult to worry about insufficient firepower like Lu Xuan, and carry dozens or hundreds of 4th grade sword talismans with him. Chapter 745, Little Green Bottle, let me see your limits. Lu Xuan had no intention of harvesting the light balls for the remaining 20 or so Thunderblade grasses. He planned to condense all of them and then stimulate and improve them with the Xuan sword sheath. The spiritual seeds were improved by the Xuan sword sheath, and the sword grass spiritual plants were stimulated by the Xuan sword monument. With a two-pronged approach, the 4th grade sword grass spiritual seeds and even the 5th grade sword grass spiritual seeds are just around the corner. It's a pity that I left in a hurry and didn't get the condensation methods of several sword grasses from the sword hall. Otherwise I wouldn't have tried them all from beginning to end like now. Lu Xuan sighed, returned to the yard, and started to refine the foundation building pill. This is his main means of earning spirit stones now, and it cannot be wasted. Fortunately, after absorbing many experience packages of foundation building pill recipes, he has reached a great level in refining foundation building pills, with a very high success rate. After Qi Wuheng sent a message to remind him, 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. On this day, when Lu Xuan was teasing the increasingly lively King Guilin cub, a familiar and gentle voice came from outside the cave. Dao Iao Lu, are you in the cave? Dao Iao Wang and I came to visit you. The spiritual sense swept over and found Tajinden Zenran standing outside the cave. They were Yulin Sanran and Wang Suhui, who were close friends with Lu Xuan in the King Muxing cave. Yulin Sanran looked calm, while Wang Suhui looked a little pale and his breath was disordered. It can be seen that the group in the Li Ji cave secret realm suffered a lot of injuries. I'm glad that the 2 Daoists are safe. I always miss you too. Lu Xuan flew out immediately and welcomed the 2 into the cave. The Li Ji cave secret realm has been closed. The 2 of us hunted a few thunder beasts in the Sea of Thunder and rested for a while. We came out and came to see Dao Iao Lu before leaving. The 2 followed Lu Xuan, and Yulin Sanran said softly, I'm mainly thinking about the 8 demon wine brewed by Dao Iao Lu. Haha. As much as you can give me. Lu Xuan laughed loudly. Ha. Yulin Sanran suddenly paused and frowned slightly. Did the protective formation outside of fellow Daoist Lu's cave residents change? My spiritual sense detected some differences, and it seems to be much stronger than before. Isn't this the chain reaction caused by the secret realm of Li Ji cave? Lu Xuan showed a helpless expression on his face. There are too many giant and true immortals who entered Li Huaxing cave, and there are many powerful evil cultivators among them. Lu Xuan's strength is not enough, and all his wealth is in the cave residents. He is worried about being spotted by bad guys, so he spent a lot of money to buy this 6th grade protective formation to upgrade the defense capability of the cave residents. He lied and lied. 6th grade protective formation. In this way, fellow Daoist Lu's cave residents can be said to be impregnable. Yulin Sanran smiled softly with his hands covering his mouth. There is no other way. I can only build myself such a tortoise shell. Lu Xuan nodded and said. The 3 of them came to the yard. Lu Xuan served the spiritual fruit and spiritual juice, and asked Wang Suhui, fellow Daoist Wang, judging from your aura, were you seriously injured while exploring the secret realm? Thank you for your concern, fellow Daoist Lu. I'm fine. The taciturn Wang Suhui said slowly. We accidentally found a hidden cave in the secret realm. There were several good treasures in the cave, but we didn't expect that another group of people also found it. They fought for the treasures and fellow Daoist Wang was seriously injured at that time. Yulin Sanran added. It's good to return safely. Judging from the expressions of the 2 fellow Daoists, did you successfully obtain the treasures? Lu Xuan asked with a smile. It was a fluke, but the price was not small. Fellow Daoist Wang was seriously injured and needs to rest for at least half a year after returning to the cave to fully recover. Several fellow Daoists who were traveling with us were accidentally besieged by several Jinden Zenran. His soul dissipated, and he died on the spot. Yulin Sanran sighed. This is a necessary process for fighting for treasures. Fortunately, the 2 Taoists are more skilled and have obtained the treasures they want. After absorbing and digesting, your cultivation strength will definitely increase a lot. Lu, I would like to offer a glass to the 2 Taoists. Lu Xuan raised the golden spiritual wine in his hand high and said with a smile, "Thank you, Taoist Lu." Unfortunately, Bixing did not get the high-level spiritual seeds that Taoist Lu wanted. Yulen Sanren said with some regret, "It doesn't matter, as long as the two Taoists are willing. If you get any rare high-level spiritual seeds in the future, you must remember to come to Lu. The price will not disappoint you." Lu Xuan said calmly, "It will be like that." The two nodded and promised. By the way, Taoist Lu, with so many Jinden Zenren and even Yuan Yingzhenjin entering the secret realm of Liji Cave, there will definitely be a lot of treasures flowing out. Taoist is a guest of Halao Chamber of Commerce. You can pay attention to their recent auctions. Maybe you will be lucky enough to get one or two. Yulen Sanren kindly reminded. Lu Xuan nodded slightly, thinking. The two stayed in the cave for half a day, then said goodbye and left together. Jinden Zenren said he was gone. After all, he was not strong enough. Lu Xuan felt a little anxious. Even though he had reached the middle stage of Jinden cultivation and had many rare treasures on him, he was still nothing in front of Yuan Yingzhenjin. "I still have to improve my strength. No, I have to farm well." He sighed, came to the spiritual field, and took out the Shenmue Kinghu from the gluttonous insect capsule. His spiritual consciousness probed into it, and the liquefied plant's spiritual energy flowed in the emerald green pot, which was pure and rich. One drop was equivalent to dozens of strands of King Mu Yuan Qi. "Little green bottle, let me see your limit." Lu Xuan came to the spiritual field area, where the 4th grade Wuzheng wood was planted. The King Mu Yuan Qi accumulated in the Shenmue Kinghu was not much. It was less than a year, so he could use this Wuzheng wood that had entered the growth stage for an experiment. Under the control of the spiritual consciousness, the extremely pure plant's spirit energy turned into a wisp of emerald green smoke, which seeped into a spiritual plant with black branches in front of him. Concentrating his mind on the black Zheng wood, Lu Xuan immediately noticed that the vitality in the black Zheng wood was instantly much stronger. The branches grew slowly, and the translucent progress bar below became full at a speed visible to the naked eye. Half an hour later, the black Zheng wood was fully mature. "This Shenmue Kinghu is amazing." Lu Xuan showed joy on his face. In his opinion, this incomplete 7th grade Shenmue Kinghu is far more important than the same level Liuli Chiffenbone. In the future, there is no need to worry too much about those high-level spiritual plants that may take hundreds of years to mature. He estimated in his mind the amount of King Mu source energy he had injected into the Shenmue Kinghu at the beginning, and briefly compared it with the nailing grass pearl. At least more than 10 times that of the nailing grass pearl. If the purification and transformation time is longer, the effect is estimated to be even stronger. Good treasure. The more Lu Xuan looked at this emerald green pot, the more he liked it. After continuously injecting the greenwood source energy, he put the divine wood green pot into the gluttonous insect capsule. Then, he carefully dug the black Zheng wood out of the spiritual soil. The spiritual wood was extremely hard, with all black branches and trunks. The branches were smooth and had a metallic luster. A 4th grade spiritual wood, it has both hardness and toughness, and strong spiritual power conductivity. It is a top grade material for refining magic tools, but I don't know if it can produce treasures related to refining tools. Lu Xuan guessed. He was not very interested in this 4th grade black Zheng wood. The reason he planted it was mainly to harvest treasures related to refining tools. Chapter 746, The Essence of 100 Refinements. A white ball of light quietly emerged from the place where the rhizome of the black Zheng wood was dug out. The ball of light flickered slightly, revealing an inexplicable attraction. Lu Xuan reached out and gently touched the surface of the ball of light, and the ball of light silently shattered, turning into tiny light spots all over the sky. The light spots flickered and formed a phantom of a classic book, which instantly sank into Lu Xuan's body. A thought emerged in his mind. Harvest a 4th grade black Zheng wood, and obtain the treasure essence of 100 refinements. The thought disappeared, and a huge torrent of information appeared in his mind, madly impacting Lu Xuan's mind. The So-Yunning post in the sea of consciousness emitted a faint white light, helping Lu Xuan to absorb the surging information completely. Essence of 100 refinements comes from the Balian sect, a major refining sect. It records many common refining techniques, as well as the specific refining methods of dozens of magic tools, and can refine up to the 5th grade magic tools. Lu Xuan stood in place, carefully experiencing the essence of the emergence of this essence of 100 refinements. It contains a wealth of techniques, tips, and experiences for refining magic tools, including the smelting, purification, and processing of spiritual minerals and wood, the manufacture of magic tool molds, rune engraving, and so on. After digesting and absorbing it, Lu Xuan had an entry-level of refining. Experience packages are still good. They can appear directly in the sea of consciousness in the form of information. After absorbing them many times, they can also improve the level of alchemy and refining. He couldn't help but sigh. He himself did not have an extraordinary talent in refining tools. If he wanted to have a perfect level of refining tools, he didn't know how much time and energy he would have to spend. But now that he has the light ball, it's different. As long as the experience package is opened from the light ball, it will directly instill a lot of refining experience into him, thereby greatly improving his refining level. I can slowly start to try to refine 2nd grade and 3rd grade magic tools, he thought secretly in his heart. Although the essence of 100 refining records several methods for refining 5th grade magic tools, the requirements for raw materials are extremely high, and the refining process is extremely complicated. If you refine rashly, the success rate is estimated to be extremely low. I remember that I got a 6th grade Jade World Dragon Claw from the Dragon Skeleton Grasslight group, and I have kept it in the Gluttonous Insect bag. If my weapon refining skills improve, I can try it. His mind moved, and a crystal clear Jade Dragon Claw appeared in front of him. It came from a 6th grade alien Jade World Dragon, which was extremely hard, and had a strong tearing ability. It was considered a top grade material. In the following period of time, in addition to the daily cultivation of spiritual plants, Lu Xuan spent the rest of his mind on studying the essence of 100 refining. There happened to be some low-level spiritual minerals and spiritual woods in the storage bag, so he used them for experiments, and gradually turned the experience in his mind into his own real experience. At the beginning of refining, he was still a little unfamiliar, but slowly became proficient, and the success rate of refining low-level magic tools was barely acceptable. If you want to improve your weapon refining skills, you have to plant more 4th grade Wuzheng wood, or higher grade spiritual plants, that are closely related to weapon refining. It seems that, whether it is alchemy or weapon refining, it will eventually return to the spiritual plant light ball. Lu Xuan looked at a 3rd grade magic weapon in his hand and chuckled. Fortunately, 4th grade Wuzheng wood is relatively common in the cultivation world. He only needs to say hello to the branch building of the Chamber of Commerce, and he will not have trouble finding this weapon refining spiritual wood seedling. He finished refining, came out of the yard, and began to inspect the spiritual field and check every spiritual plant. The remaining 3rd grade Thunderblade grass is already condensing sword grass spiritual seeds. However, because Lu Xuan mastered the method of condensing seeds of ordinary 2nd grade sword grass, the Thunderblade grass became a mutated 3rd grade spiritual plant under the stimulation of the Xuan sword monument. He could only rely on his previous experience and his grasp of the state of spiritual plants to slowly explore the method of condensing seeds of Thunderblade grass. Therefore, the success rate was not high when the sword grass spirit seed was condensed for the first time. On average, each Thunder Sword grass could condense 3 spirit seeds. However, Lu Xuan did not care, and was very patient. To improve the grade of ordinary 2nd grade sword grass, it was necessary to go through many obstacles. He had already prepared himself mentally. The 3rd grade sword raising good planted next to it was growing vigorously, and had already produced a bunch of light green flower buds. The flower buds were as slender as swords, and they trembled slightly under the stimulation of the sword intent of the Xuan sword monument. In other spiritual fields, the newly planted 3rd grade ice firefly grass entered a rapid growth stage. The slender leaves glowed with aqua-blue light, and countless fluorescent lights dotted on them, like stars in the night sky. Threads of cold air seeped out from the spiritual grass, and a thin layer of frost formed on the spiritual soil on the ground. Lu Xuan continued to perform the spiritual rain technique, and according to the needs of each ice firefly grass he sensed, he dropped the right amount of spiritual rain to nourish each spiritual grass. Among the remaining spiritual plants, The 5th grade 5 thunder twin flowers and pure bottle willow have entered the mature stage, and the branches of the pure glazed tea have sprouted a few green leaves, revealing a sense of freshness and nature. Among the 6th grade spiritual plants, the sitting Buddha lotus and the 9 Confucian treasure tree are growing normally, and the purple myrtle thunder fruit brought from the heavenly sword sect has entered the mature stage first under the nourishment of the dark green thunder liquid. Lu Xuan then came to the underworld spiritual field area. He was calm and walked in the sky full of ghosts and resentment. Not far in front of him, a blue-black shadow of a baby flashed by and drilled into a strange spiritual fruit that was somewhat similar to a baby. In the perception of the spiritual consciousness, there was a vague black shadow inside the spiritual fruit with a strong yin energy, and occasionally a baby's face full of resentment could be seen emerging. The holy infant fruit plant is fully mature. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on the holy infant fruit, and he found that the translucent progress bar below was fully filled. He carefully picked the 5th grade spiritual fruit and took a quick look at it with his spiritual consciousness. Good quality, not bad, it's worth it that I specially selected the infant souls and resentments needed for growth from countless ghosts and resentments. Lu Xuan put the holy infant fruit in a beautiful jade box and put it into the gluttonous insect capsule. His sight fell on the holy infant fruit plant again, and a white light ball quietly appeared at the place where the spiritual fruit was picked. He touched it lightly, and the light ball suddenly shattered silently, turning into tiny light spots all over the sky, and quickly poured into Lu Xuan's body. Harvest a 5th grade holy infant fruit plant spiritual fruit, and obtain the 5th grade elixir holy infant pill. The thought flashed through his mind, and a black and round pill appeared in Lu Xuan's hand. There were many grey and black spiritual patterns swimming on the surface of the pill, and the resentful face of the infant child could be vaguely seen between the changing lines, emitting a rich and pure yin qi. Holy infant pill, a 5th grade pill, is made with holy infant fruit as the main material, contains pure yin qi, and can slightly increase the success rate of pill formation after taking it. Another 5th grade holy infant pill. Lu Xuan looked at the black pill in his hand and sighed. When he broke through the Jinden stage, he took a holy infant pill, which helped him advance. Although this pill is not of much use to him now, just by slightly increasing the success rate of Jinden, it will attract countless foundation building perfect cultivators to spend all their money and scramble for it. The other seed plant is almost mature, so I might as well open the light ball together. He took out a small emerald green pot and muttered to himself. Chapter 747 5 Thunder's Magical Power. A stream of emerald green spiritual energy flowed out from the spout of the sacred wood green pot and seeped into the fruit of the seedling. Inside the fruit, the blurred dark blue shadow became much more active under the nourishment of the spiritual energy of the plants transformed by the sacred wood green pot. After a while, the remaining holy infant fruit was also fully mature. It is also of good quality, not bad. Lu Xuan focused his mind on the spiritual fruit, shaped like a baby, and said with some surprise, although the spiritual fruit is ripened, it is still of good quality. It seems that the spiritual energy of the plants transformed by the sacred wood green pot has little effect on the spiritual fruit. He sighed and gently touched the white light ball that quietly emerged. Harvest a 5th grade holy infant fruit, and obtain the 5th grade holy infant pill recipe. The thought disappeared, and a large amount of information appeared directly in his sea of consciousness. Holy infant pill recipe. This should be the first 5th grade pill recipe I have opened from the light ball. After Lu Xuan absorbed and digested the information in his sea of consciousness, a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The foundation building pills that can help with the promotion are extremely popular, not to mention the holy infant pill. Unfortunately, the holy infant fruit spiritual plant is many times rarer than the Tibetan yuan grass, and it is difficult to obtain the pill formula experience package in batches, as well as to refine a large number of holy infant pills. See if there is a chance to collect the holy infant fruit spiritual seeds. If not, just buy the holy infant fruit and refine the holy infant pill. Lu Xuan thought secretly in his heart and brought the holy infant fruit spiritual fruit to the mother plant. It has been many years since the mother plant gave birth to 2 substrain spirit seeds, and its damaged origin has been restored. In Lu Xuan's mind perception, after the mother plant gave birth to several substrain spirit seeds in succession, a faint sense of sluggishness appeared. Continuous childbirth and not taking good care of the confinement period do have a significant impact on the spirit plants. He couldn't help but sigh. The reason why this holy infant fruit mother plant gave birth to substrain spirit seeds is to wait for the substrain to mature and then seize the vitality of the spirit fruit to strengthen itself. Unexpectedly, Xuan seized this loophole and waited for the fruit of the daughter plant to mature, picked it as soon as possible, and then tried to make the mother plant give birth to new spirit seeds so as to get more light balls as rewards. It's almost time to stop here. If you continue, it will only be counterproductive and hurt the origin of the mother plant. What we need to do next is to cultivate the mother plant wholeheartedly, restore it to the best state, and try to improve the quality of the spirit fruit, so that it can be refined into an incarnation. Xuan still remembered the effect of the holy infant fruit, which can slightly improve spiritual awareness, and improve the bones. It is usually used as the main material of the holy infant pill. The high quality spirit fruit can be used to refine the external incarnation. As the number of spirit plants increased, and the grade became higher and higher, he had the idea of opening a new cave in Xuan Star Cave. The new cave will separate the spirit plants, and be used to cultivate those evil spirit plants. But the spirit plants involve too many of his secrets. If they are cultivated by others, it will greatly affect the light ball rewards. If I cultivate it completely by myself, I will not be able to split myself into two bodies, and it will be difficult to take care of the many spiritual plants in the two caves. After thinking about it, the incarnation is a good choice. The incarnation made from the top grade holy infant fruit should belong to the evil species, and it can just digest the many evil techniques and treasures in Xuan's hands. Of course, first of all, I must ensure that the clone is completely under my control. Secondly, I have to experiment whether the spiritual plants cultivated by the clone can harvest light balls from them. If not, then the value of the clone to me is much lower. Xuan looked at the mother plant of the holy infant fruit in front of him and thought secretly. He deliberately left a daughter plant of the holy infant fruit nearby. After cultivating other evil spiritual plants in the cave, he hid in a corner and observed the movements of the mother plant with his spiritual consciousness. After a while, a faint blue-black spiritual energy suddenly emerged from the embryonic blue-black spiritual fruit at the top of the mother plant. The blue-black spiritual energy curled up and hovered over the spiritual plants for a while, and it did not dissipate for a long time. Then, as if sensing the safety of the surrounding environment, more blue-black spiritual energy surged out, condensing into a blue-black baby. The baby had a hideous face, sunken eye sockets, and exuded a strong and sinister aura. It turned into a black shadow and instantly pounced in front of the substrain spiritual fruit and then left in an instant, returning to the mother spiritual plant. In Xuan's spiritual perception, the substrain spiritual fruit that was left behind had no vitality inside and was slowly rotting, while the mother plant looked full of vitality, and a ghost of a baby appeared from time to time inside the embryo. After replenishing the vitality of the substrain spiritual fruit, the growth of the mother plant should be much faster. Xuan looked at the plant that was eagerly absorbing the vitality of the substrain spiritual fruit, chuckled, and turned away. The turmoil brought by Leiji Cave gradually subsided. In the following period of time, Xuan rarely noticed unfamiliar faces, and the entire Leihuaxing Cave regained peace. As an ordinary spiritual plant master, he naturally hoped to live in such a peaceful environment. After staying in the cave for half a year, another 5-grade spiritual plant has fully matured. Xuan stood in front of a spiritual plant with 5 colored flowers. Lightning flashed on the 5 flowers, and the 5 colored lightning flashes of blue, black, white, red, and yellow surged, combining the 5 flowers together into one. 5 thunder twin flowers. Finally one matured. Xuan was happy. At the beginning, he entered an ancient medicine garden in the Thunder Sea, and under the guidance of a strange monster Leigigang, he found a total of 6 5-thunder twin flower spiritual seeds. After years of cultivation with the 5 element of spiritual thunder, finally one was fully mature. He carefully picked the 5 colored flowers that grew together, and focused his mind on them. 5 thunder twin flowers, grown in the spiritual soil containing the breath of thunder spirit, are cultivated with the 5 element of spiritual thunder. After maturity, a trace of the 5 element of spiritual thunder can be extracted from the spiritual flowers, and can also be refined into high-level thunder talismans, to assist in the practice of thunder-related skills and supernatural powers, and to raise thunder-related spiritual beasts. This 5 thunder twin flower has a wide range of uses. Xuan muttered quietly, not deciding how to use these twin thunder spirit flowers. Let's open the light ball first. His attention was completely attracted by the white light ball that appeared below. Gently touching the surface of the light ball, countless tiny light spots turned into a thunder phantom and instantly sank into Xuan's body. Then, a thought emerged in his mind. Harvest a 5th grade 5 thunder twin flower, and obtain a low-level magical power, 5 thunder's righteousness. The thought disappeared, and a silver-white jade slip appeared in Xuan's hand. There were endless 5-colored spiritual thunders on the surface of the jade slip, and there was a slight numbness in the hand. Xuan's mind was focused on it, and he instantly learned the detailed information of the jade slip. 5 thunder's righteousness, a low-level magical power, can be used to induce and summon the 5 element of spiritual thunder after mastering it, and instantly burst out with powerful thunder and lightning power, causing a devastating blow to the target. The richer the thunder spirit aura in the environment, the more 5 element thunder spirits will be triggered, and the stronger the power will be. It can even lead to a sea of thunder and indiscriminately attack a certain area. Chapter 748 Thunder Wing. Low-level magical power. Xuan was delighted. Finally, another magical power emerged from the light ball. He did not try to practice the soul-snatching blood palm magical power he had previously developed, because the cultivation method was quite evil, and it might cause the practitioner to become alienated. He looked for an opportunity to use it. He always believed that with so many high-level spiritual plants in the spiritual field of the cave, he would definitely be able to develop more rare and powerful magical powers. And today, his wish came true. He placed the silver-white jade slip against his brow, and his spiritual consciousness penetrated into it, carefully comprehending the method of practicing the magical power inside. This 5 thunders orthodox magical power has given me another powerful attack method, which can induce the 5 element of spiritual thunder to bombard the target, especially restraining the evil demons and the like. Xuan thought secretly in his heart. The remaining 5 thunders twin flowers have entered the fully mature stage, and it is estimated that the light ball can be harvested within 1 or 2 months, so he was not in a hurry to use the divine wood green pot to ripen them. For the next half month, he stayed in the cave. Although he didn't have to practice in seclusion, he still lived a very fulfilling life every day, cultivating spiritual plants, raising spiritual beasts, and comprehending the various skills and magical powers obtained from the light ball. Senior Lu, I'm Xuan from the Heilao Chamber of Commerce. I have met you several times before. I came here specially to give you the black jengwood seedlings. That day, when he was checking the spiritual plants, a deep voice came from outside the cave. After scanning with his spiritual sense, Xuan found a middle-aged cultivator with a calm temperament standing outside the cave. The cultivator was in the late stage of foundation building, with a respectful demeanor, waiting outside the cave with his head down. The one who delivered the seeds is here. Xuan smiled. The last time he went to the branch building of the Chamber of Commerce to deal with foreign spiritual plants, he asked a female cultivator named Wen, and learned from her that there were no black jengwood seedlings in the branch building. Before leaving, he asked her to help him keep an eye out and collect black jengwood seedlings from other branch buildings. Unexpectedly, the female cultivator was more thoughtful and even asked someone to bring them to the cave. It saves me a lot of effort. Xuan was quite satisfied with the female cultivator's self-assertion. He flashed and came to the outside of the cave. Greetings, Senior Lu. The middle-aged cultivator noticed Xuan's figure and bowed. So it's fellow Daoist Liao. Thank you for your help, Xuan said calmly. He had some impression of this cultivator. He had seen him several times when he went to the branch building of the Chamber of Commerce. Senior Lu, these are the 10 black jengwood seedlings that the owner of the Wen building gave me. Please take a look. The middle-aged cultivator stretched out his hand and flicked it. 10 straight black seedlings appeared in front of him. They were the black jengwood that Xuan had planted before. The quality is not bad. Xuan nodded with satisfaction. He specially collected these black gengwood seedlings. The purpose was naturally to obtain more 100 refining essentials experience packs to improve his refining skills. How many spirit stones do these 10 black gengwood seedlings cost? He pointed at the seedlings below and asked. According to what Master Wen said, each seedling costs 4,500 low-grade spirit stones. The middle-aged cultivator lowered his head and said, "Here are 450 middle-grade spirit stones. Take a look." A pile of middle-grade spirit stones full of spiritual light was delivered to the cultivator. He had no objection to the price. If he bought them from other places, he would definitely spend a lot more spirit stones. I have counted them, and the number of spirit stones is correct. The middle-aged cultivator carefully put away the pile of middle-grade spirit stones in front of Lu Xuan. "You have come so far, do you want to sit in my cave?" Lu Xuan asked with a smile. "I dare not disturb the senior's cultivation. I will take my leave now," Liao Chang said hurriedly. Lu Xuan's cultivation was one realm higher than his, and he also served as a guest of the Chamber of Commerce. He had a respected status. He was afraid of causing the other party to be unhappy, so he naturally did not have the courage to enter Lu Xuan's cave. "Okay, I won't force you. Take these spiritual fruits and enjoy them on the way." Seeing that he was determined, Lu Xuan didn't force him too much and gave Liao Chang a few ice and fire spiritual fruits as a reward for bringing the seedlings. "Thank you, Senior Lu." Liao Chang was flattered. He had never expected Lu Xuan to be so approachable. He took the spiritual fruit and held it carefully in his hands, fearing that it would fall to the ground. Then, he said goodbye to Lu Xuan and drove a third-grade flying sword into the boundless and subtle lightning. Master Wen is quite enthusiastic. Lu Xuan entered the cave and planted 10 black gengwood seedlings in the spiritual soil. After performing the spirit rain technique, he couldn't help but sigh. He just mentioned it and asked the female cultivator to help keep an eye out for it. He originally planned to buy the seedlings next time he went there, but he didn't expect that Master Wen was so efficient. After collecting enough black gengwood seedlings, he sent them to his cave as soon as possible. After harvesting a few more refining experience packs, I guess I can barely become a master of refining, Lu Xuan thought secretly, and came to the spiritual field area covered with silver white lightning sand. 2 more 5 thunder twin flowers have matured. Lu Xuan carefully picked the 5 colored twin flowers and put them into the gluttonous insect capsule. 2 white balls of light appeared quietly at almost the same time. Lu Xuan reached out and gently touched one of them. The ball of light shattered into countless tiny light points, condensed into a thin river of light, and instantly poured into Lu Xuan's body. Harvest a 5th grade 5 thunder twin flowers, and obtain the low-level magical power 5 thunder's righteous law. The thought flashed through his mind, and a huge amount of information poured into the depths of his sea of consciousness, which was the 5 thunder's righteous law magical power that he had opened earlier. Scenes passed by like a horse-drawn show, as if a cultivator was showing him the 5 thunder's righteous law over and over again in his sea of consciousness. How to operate spiritual power, how to better attract spiritual thunder, how to maximize its power. I didn't expect that this time it would not appear in the form of a jade slip, but directly instill the experience into my sea of consciousness. Lu Xuan digested the large amount of information in his sea of consciousness, came back to his senses, and with a thought, 5 colored lightning appeared above his head, like long snakes swimming, and wherever they passed, there were bursts of lightning, as if they would pour down at any time. Well, I have already mastered the low-level magical power of the 5 thunders orthodoxy. In about half a month, I have mastered a low-level magical power from scratch. I'm really a genius in cultivation. It's just that my talent is all on the spiritual plant light ball. Lu Xuan thought shamelessly. He was happy in his heart, and with expectation, he gently touched the remaining white light ball again. The light ball shattered silently, like a firework explosion, and countless tiny light points shot up into the sky. The light points quickly condensed into a feather shadow in the air and instantly sank into Lu Xuan's body. Then, a thought flashed through his sea of consciousness. Harvest a 5th grade 5 thunder twin flowers, and obtain the 6th grade treasure Kylay wing, 1/2. The thought disappeared, and half of the silver white wings appeared in front of Lu Xuan. The wings were more than half a foot long, with smooth lines, and there was a clear spiritual light flowing on them. lightning arcs kept jumping, and one could clearly sense that there was an extremely terrifying lightning power hidden in them. Lu Xuan's mind was focused on the silver white wings, and he instantly learned detailed information about it. Kailei Wing, a 6th grade treasure. A Yuanying Zhenjin hunted a Kailei Yaopeng and collected its wings to refine this rare treasure. The magic weapon contains a trace of the original innate magical power of the Kailei Yaopeng. After offering sacrifices and refining, it can be equivalent to a 6th grade speed type magic weapon, which can instantly escape thousands of miles away. Right square bracket. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 749, Small 5 Thunder Talisman. Finally, I have opened a top grade speed type magic weapon. Lu Xuan was delighted, looking at the silver white wings in front of him, and couldn't let go. The only pity is that only half of it was opened. This ball of light is a bit incompetent, he muttered to himself. The highest grade speed type treasure he currently has is the 5th grade Thunder Extreme Escape Talisman, which is made by collecting the outer evil thunder. After activating the talisman, it can use the thunder energy in it to perform a powerful thunder escape. However, the talisman can be used a limited number of times, unlike magic weapons that have no limit on the number of times. In addition, he also mastered the 5-element escape method and the thunder escape method he comprehended from the Xingxiu True method, but it is only useful under certain limited conditions, and the speed is not outstanding. Finally, there are the 4th grade magic weapons King Fulo and Fuguan Luoying body method that he obtained when he was in the foundation building stage, but the speed is not satisfactory to Lu Xuan. The 6th grade speed magic weapon can make up for my shortcomings in speed, Lu Xuan thought secretly. However, his defect was only relative to himself. Compared with other mid-stage giant and cultivators, the speed-related treasures and skills he possessed were definitely above average. There are still 3 5 Thunder Twin Flowers, one of the 3 in the light ball, and the other side of the Kailei Wing is stable. Lu Xuan still had some confidence in the light ball. He put away this half of the Kailei Wing and continued to inspect the spiritual field and cultivate spiritual plants. The 5th grade Jing Ping Liu is almost fully mature. Lu Xuan came to a green willow tree that exuded a clear and spiritual atmosphere. The willow tree was as tall as a person, and the catkins were flying. Wherever it passed, it left a trail of light green marks. The marks revealed a sense of freshness and nature, which made Lu Xuan, who was close to the spiritual plant, feel comfortable and comfortable. The strong joy of harvesting the Kailei Wing gradually became peaceful and tranquil. He took out the Snow Dragon Holy Spring that the Chamber of Commerce had given him before from the gluttonous insect sack and slowly poured it on the green willow tree. The pale white spiritual energy was lingering around the Jingping Liu, fully nourishing this pure and flawless spiritual plant. The Jingping Willow has extremely high requirements for spiritual energy and spiritual springs. He first used Yaoquan Linglin to irrigate it, and when it entered the mature stage, he changed it to Zulang Shenquan, which is of higher quality and better effect. This also allows the Jingping Willow to get the best cultivation conditions. Lu Xuan estimates that the quality of the spiritual plant will not be ordinary when it matures. We have to find some better spiritual soil and spiritual springs. Although there are several kinds of good spiritual soil and spiritual springs in the cave, as the spiritual plants cultivated are getting higher and higher, those spiritual soil and spiritual springs are not a match. Lu Xuan decided to pay attention to related treasures in the future. The life of cultivating spiritual plants in the cave is simple and boring, but he is happy with it. Quietly feeling the spiritual plants that he planted and cultivated by himself grow vigorously, he naturally has a different sense of satisfaction in his heart. Not to mention, being able to harvest light balls. One piece of unknown magical treasure after another maximizes his satisfaction, which is far greater than the opportunity treasure that can only be obtained after many obstacles. Soon, another half a month passed, and Lu Xuan entered the spiritual field where several kinds of thunder spiritual plants were planted. 30 thunderstorm lotuses are growing well, with strands of thunder energy falling from the silver white flower buds like a waterfall. The thunder energy waterfall is still relatively sparse at present. When the lotus fully blooms, there will be flying beads and splashing jade, with such a scale and momentum. The 6th grade Xuan has entered the mature stage. There is a light purple lightning light emerging on the branches and leaves of the spiritual plant. The petals seem to be engraved with thunder marks. If you look closely, you can sense the thunder spirit breath that destroys the world from the marks. Xuan took out a drop of dark green thunder liquid and infiltrated it into the Xuan. After cultivating many thunder spiritual plants, he came to the remaining 3-5 thunder twin flowers without panic. They are all fully mature. Xuan looked at the translucent progress bar below the 3-5 color spiritual flowers and chuckled. Then, he carefully picked the spiritual flowers. 3 white light balls appeared one after another, appearing in front of Xuan in the shape of a Chinese character. Xuan couldn't help but raise his lips and gently touched the surface of one of the white light balls. The light ball shattered silently, turning into a long and thin river of light that flowed into his body. Harvested a 5th grade 5 thunder twin flowers, and obtained the low-level magical power of the 5 thunders. A huge amount of information was like a dam opening, and the boundless torrent rolled over, constantly impacting the depths of his sea of consciousness. I have absorbed another 5 thunders experience pack, and I have barely reached a proficient level in this magical power. Well, it's equivalent to studying it in seclusion for dozens or hundreds of years. Xuan had a thorough understanding of his own comprehension, and knew that, if he had practiced and studied it, he might not have reached this level even after hundreds of years. He completely absorbed the information in his sea of consciousness, and continued to extend his fingers to the surface of the 2nd white light ball. Light ball, bless me, I must open the thunder wings. He made a very sincere wish. Before he finished speaking, the tiny light dots in the sky quickly condensed into a silver white wing shadow in the air. Before Xuan could show any joy, it instantly sank into his body. Then, a thought emerged in his sea of consciousness. Harvest a 5th grade 5 thunder twin flowers. Obtain the 6th grade treasure Cultivate wing. 2/2. As soon as the thought disappeared, a silver white wing appeared in front of Xuan, and thunder energy surged from the wings, which looked very good. It's really my good light ball. Xuan felt the powerful thunder energy in the wings, and the corners of his mouth rose. Sincerity is the key, and you can get whatever you want. Isn't this much better than going out to explore the secret realm and not necessarily getting treasures? He felt a little proud in his heart and took out the other half of the Cultivate wing he had obtained earlier from the gluttonous insect sack. The 2 halves of the silver white wings came together, and under Xuan's simple ritual, they were continuously compressed and turned into a silver white thunderball. Endless thunder fell from the thunderball, and a rebellious silver white demon rock could be vaguely seen dancing in the thunder, as if enjoying the bombardment of thunder. The speed was extremely fast, appearing and disappearing from time to time, and it was difficult to catch with the naked eye. Xuan carefully put away the silver white thunderball, and put it into the gluttonous insect sack. Then, his eyes fell on the last white light ball. He gently touched the surface of the light ball, and in his expectant eyes, the light ball shattered into countless tiny light points, and then turned into a talisman phantom, and sank into Xuan's body. Then, a thought flashed through the depths of his sea of consciousness. Harvest a 5th grade 5 thunder twin flower, and obtain a 6th grade talisman, the small 5 thunder talisman. As soon as the thought disappeared, a silver white talisman appeared in his hand. The talisman was only the size of a palm, with a brilliant silver light and pure thunder power. There was a slight numbness in the hand. With Xuan's current strong physical body, it indirectly shows that the talisman contains a strong and pure thunder power. There was a trace of lightning in the middle of the talisman, and lightning arcs were floating around it, as if it would strike out from the talisman at any time. He focused his mind on the silver white talisman and immediately learned the detailed information about the talisman. Small 5 thunder talisman, a 6th grade talisman, drawn with a large amount of pure 5 element spiritual thunder. After being activated, it can activate countless 5 element spiritual thunders, causing a devastating blow to the target. Chapter 750 Pure Yang Golden Lotus. 6th grade thunder talisman. This is the first 6th grade talisman I have obtained from the light ball so far. Xuan was delighted. According to the talisman information that emerged in my mind, this 6th grade small 5 thunder talisman can be regarded as an advanced version of the 5 thunders orthodox method. It is instantly activated, and the power it bursts out should be stronger than the 5 thunders orthodox method. It's a pity that it is a one-time talisman and loses its effect after being activated. He secretly thought that this 6th grade small 5 thunder talisman could be used as his main attack method. It is estimated that ordinary cultivators in the middle and late stages of the Giant stage would find it difficult to block its vast 5-element spiritual thunder. After arriving at the Thunder Mars cave, I have already opened 3 thunder attributed talismans from the light ball, which can be regarded as a great benefit of entering here. In addition to the small 5 thunder talisman, he also has 2 5th grade talismans, the Tai Thunder Talisman and the Thunder Extreme Escape Talisman, both of which are air high level talismans. However, because he rarely goes out to explore the secret realm, he has no place to use them and has kept them in the gluttonous insect bag. 6 5 Thunder Twin Flowers, the 5 Thunders Righteous Magical Power and 2 Magic Power Experience packs obtained from the Light group, the 2 halves of the Thunder Wings combined into a 6th grade magic weapon, and this 6th grade small 5 Thunder Talisman. What a harvest! Lu Xuan's spiritual sense sensed the 6 5 colored Thunder Spirit flowers in the gluttonous insect capsule, and he couldn't help but sigh. If there is a chance, I have to go to that ancient medicine garden and ask the mysterious spirit Lei Gigan to help me find spiritual seeds and give it some thunderstorm lotus seeds and 5 thunder twin flowers. Lu Xuan had gained a lot from the previous trip to the ancient medicine garden and even accidentally got the 7th grade Yemukinglo vine, so he missed it very much. After getting the thunder wings, Lu Xuan cultivated the spiritual plants every day and then went to sacrifice this top grade speed type magic weapon. After half a month, it began to show results. There was a valley near the cave, the thunder energy was thick, and countless lightning flashes passed by. Lu Xuan's body was filled with silver white lightning, and he disappeared quickly and appeared dozens of feet away in an instant. He was practicing the secret art of thunder escape from the divine sky true method. As soon as it appeared, the thunder dragon hound came out from some corner and looked at the gradually fading lightning on Lu Xuan's body. The silver white horns were surrounded by lightning and turned into a lightning that kept flashing around Lu Xuan. Look at you, you are so arrogant. Lu Xuan couldn't stand the thunder dragon hound cub's behavior. With a thought, a pair of silver white wings between his ribs spread out, and strands of lightning flowed on the wings. Swish! A lightning flashed by, which was countless times faster than the speed of the thunder dragon hound, and instantly appeared in front of the cub. The cub looked at Lu Xuan who suddenly appeared. A trace of doubt flashed in his eyes, and stomped his hind legs. The silver white horns were completely covered by lightning, and the speed increased a lot. Ha ha ha, watch how I catch you. Lu Xuan was in a playful mood for a while, and gently patted the thunder wings on his back. He was the first to arrive, and appeared in front of the thunder dragon hound cub again. In this way, Lu Xuan appeared in front of the young beasts one after another, and the proud young thunder dragon had to be impressed by his speed. This Kai Lei magic weapon is really extraordinary. The thunder dragon is a 5th grade alien spirit beast, good at the art of thunder escape, and is even more comfortable in an environment like the Thunder Mars cave. Although it is still in the growth stage, its speed is not inferior to that of the Lihojiro. But such speed is not enough in front of the Kai Lei. In comparison, the young beast's thunder escape is like a turtle's speed. Lu Xuan experimented with the Kai Lei for a while, and after understanding its strength, he had the idea of returning to the cave. Several spirit beasts that came out together followed closely behind, with great momentum. Although the area of the cave is already quite large, it is like a cage for high-level spirit beasts, and they cannot fully move. Lu Xuan took them out of the cave together, and took a good walk nearby. Back in the cave, he activated the myriad barriers mysterious crystal array to isolate himself from the outside world and become an honest and dedicated spirit planter who concentrates on farming. Soon, a year and a half passed. During this period, no high-level spiritual plants matured in the cave, only some ordinary spiritual plants that Lu Xuan planted casually, just for experimental purposes. since he was already in the giant realm when cultivating spiritual plants, and the spiritual plants were not of high grade. The light ball rewards he harvested were not impressive, so he could only put them in the grocery store to enrich the variety of treasures. One day, after cultivating spiritual plants, he came to an underground cave. There was a branch of earth fire in the cave, and the hot magma flowed endlessly, flowing through the valley where the cave was located. Above the fiery red magma, there was a wisp of platinum flame burning quietly. Inside the flame, there were more than a dozen red lotus seeds rolling constantly, and they were baked by the platinum flame on all sides. I wonder how this earth fire heart lotus spiritual seed is stimulated. Xuan thought secretly in his heart. He has never given up the idea of improving the earth fire heart lotus and the 5-element fruit. High-level spiritual seeds are extremely rare in the cultivation world, and even as a guest of the Halao Chamber of Commerce, it is not easy to obtain them. Xuan then came up with the idea of improving the spiritual seeds himself. He has mastered the method of condensing the seeds of two types of 4th grade spiritual plants, the earth fire heart lotus and the 5-element fruit. He also has the special ability to sense the state of spiritual plants and quickly identify spiritual seeds, so he can save countless time and energy. His ability to improve spiritual plants alone is comparable to that of the great masters in the cultivation world. Long ago, he had obtained a different species of earth fire heart lotus, which he quickly ripened to obtain a large number of mutant spiritual seeds, and then stimulated and improved them again with pure yang true fire. After several generations of screening, the earth fire heart lotus has become more and more mutant under the long-term stimulation of the 5th grade pure yang true fire, and has faintly touched a higher threshold. Xuan took out the red spiritual seeds inside. Compared with the initial state, the spiritual seeds have changed a lot. On the surface of the red seed coat, platinum lines can be vaguely seen. The lines are shaped like flames and seem to be shaking gently. There is a slight burning feeling when holding it in the hand. A breath of extreme yang is transmitted from the spiritual seeds to Xuan's skin, which makes him look forward to it a little more. There was no such strange phenomenon before. His mind moved, and a long crack appeared on the fiery red rock under his feet. He slowly put the red spirit seed into the crack. Then, his mind focused on the red spirit seed. Instantly, a thought emerged in his sea of consciousness. Pure Yang Golden Lotus, a 5th grade spiritual plant. The 4th grade Earth Fire Heart Lotus has been improved under the induction and stimulation of the pure Yang True Fire for a long time, and needs to be cultivated with the Yang different fire. The lotus seeds after maturity contain pure yang power, which has an innate restraining effect on evil demons and monsters. After taking it, it can be invulnerable to all evil, and purify the evil breath in the body. Long-term use can also greatly improve spiritual consciousness. Golden Lotus born in fire. Finally, a 5th grade spiritual plant has been improved. Xuan's heart was filled with strong joy. With the magical ability to control the state of spiritual plants and seeds, he has stimulated and induced for many years with the 5th grade pure yang true fire, and finally succeeded in obtaining a 5th grade spiritual plant today. At this moment, the sense of achievement in his heart is no less than harvesting a 6th grade spiritual plant light ball. The improvement of this pure yang golden lotus spiritual seed means that he can subsequently cultivate this 5th grade spiritual plant in large quantities and in a stable manner. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.